So 3, 2, 1. This is Dean with the Two Party Podcast, and I'm on here with, let me not mess it up, Joey Lozada. And he's from the he has a YouTube page that I definitely want you guys to go check out. It's the CTS Interview Room. Now, he's interviewed so many cool people. I'm actually jealous, not gonna lie, a little jealous, because I see a few people on here that I'm like, yeah, hey, I wish I would have interviewed that person. So you've had some really good interviews, but I want you to go ahead and tell the audience about yourself, where you're from, kind of fill them in on some of your background and what got you into all this.
That's so funny you said that, because I want to be like the Two Party Podcast. I've actually, yesterday I was on your YouTube page and I was like, man, they got some cool people on here. I want to interview these people.
I keep trying. I'll tell you what's really cool before we get started is I've been pushing and pressing on Bobby Sausalito for Bobby Sauce, the comedian. Man, I've been pushing on that dude so hard, to just busting his chops to try to get him on the show. And he finally conceded, and we're finally going to get him on the 14th of January. So I'm like super stoked to get him on. He's just a funny comedian, really good guy, but lately he's real political talk. And it's like, I just want to bust his chops a little bit, you know?
Yeah, it's so funny you say that, because like now I'm trying to get into like the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
I'm not saying my guests that I've already had are not heavy hitters.
No, you got some really good guests.
But yeah, well, I appreciate it. It took hard work. And I'll tell you a little story about that. But we've been trying to get into the heavy hitters. I'm talking about big names, like celebrities. So like recently I got in contact with Bill Engvall's people, and I'm kind of afraid now, because I'm like, they said yes. They said yes to the podcast. And it was funny because one of my partners, Stingray, which we'll get into, he mentioned on another podcast that we already got him coming on. And I was like, Sting, yeah, I showed you the email where they say yes, but they haven't got back to me the date and time. And so, but out of that name, out of probably 50 celebrities, all said no. Even Mr. T's people said no.
Right.
I'm sitting there like,
yep,
what's he doing?
Yeah. Like, yeah. What is he doing right now? You know?
Yeah, like Mr. T can come on this podcast.
He's still living off royalties from the cereal.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't even a nice, well, it was a nice note. It wasn't like they were like mean or anything.
He wasn't like, I pity the fool that asked me for a podcast.
It was more like, we decline. That's it.
Yeah. It's funny. I've been trying, like you said, I mean, I've reached out to so many people. I start out with people that I'm passionate about, people that I'm like kind of a fan of, but at the same time, I'm also reaching out for people that I want a target audience. And I've reached out to Ice Cube and his PR people, man. I went back and forth with Ice Cube and his PR people. And, 1 minute it was $4,000 for freaking 10 minutes. And then it was, well, maybe he'll have a slot for you. And then I'm like, well, look, I just want to talk about this black contract with America. Let's have a discussion about it on the show. He keeps doing lives about it. I want to talk to him personally about it. And then one guy was like, yeah, I'll let him know. And then it's just straight went blank. We're just like nothing, no negotiation going on. And then it's weird how that works.
It's funny, like it was a professional. I'm not gonna say his name, but it was a professional wrestler I wanted to reach out to. And they got back to me and they were like, you got to pick up the views, son.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and I know where they were coming from, because we're still small, but he got, compared to the amount of time that we've been on YouTube, the amount of subscribers that we have is unprecedented. I'm not saying that we're up in over 1,000 by no means, but to start in June to July and be the number that we're at, and we're not big names.
Yep.
That's pretty good. That means we've been hustling it. But however, we're still trying to hit that 1,000 mark.
Right.
But like the professional wrestler people was like, look, you get to 1 million views. And I want to just say thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, you got to be humble. You got to be humble about it.
But I was just like, hey, if I get an interview with him, maybe I would get 1 million views. You have a good day. Because it was, I can understand that if you just don't want to do it, just say, hey, I decline, appreciate you, the offer, blah, blah, blah. I was like, we got, well, first I'm saying the story wrong. They wanted me to send some links to some videos.
Yep.
And I did. So they didn't say no at first.
Right.
And then when I sent the videos, they were like, nah, you got to get your views up.
Right. Yeah, because then they start looking at it, I find the same thing. What gets me is I'll go to the PR people first, like you're supposed to. I try to keep it professional. I know there's, like you said, you start in June and stuff. We just started the show off. We launched the show in September. So, we're really new to this. Right. I personally have been around this for a long time. I just never really started my own show yet, and didn't even think I'd ever host one. And so I started reaching out to a lot of PR people because, professionally, that's what you're supposed to do. Reach out to PR, then reach out to the managers. And, if you can get a hold of the person themselves, by all means, try to push that. But, I started going back and forth with all these PR people. And I'm like, look, and I got the same response as you did. I got the first, I need to get my views up. What are my numbers? What audience am I reaching? Where am I heard? Where am I located? I started getting all that target audience stuff. And then I'm like, the clicks per minute and all this stuff you guys are wanting to do and see. So everybody started somewhere. That's what I started my rebuttal to a lot of the PR people is everybody started somewhere. Your guy wouldn't be famous or your girl would not be famous if it weren't for fans like myself who want to interact with them. And if they're not going to interact with me and help promote and get me to a level where I'm promoting them, but at the same time, I'm able to actually speak to them and have a conversation, which is all I'm trying to do. I guess it's really not worth it. And I've done it on a few. I've thrown it right out there in the email. Like, it's just really not worth my time. If I have to sit here and dicker back and forth, like your person is just on this big pedestal. I understand they're a celebrity and I'm trying to be professional about it, but we're just asking you to be a guest on the show and give us a 10-minute slot or more, And I wrestle with it a little bit because I feel like, there's a standard in the industry of how it's always been done. But I feel like people like me and you kind of got to push that envelope and say, look, we're trying to make it to the top too. We're trying to get there.
Yeah. And it's really the law of averages. You ask 100 people, one person is going to say yes.
Yep.
I remember an interview I did. The young lady's name was Jasmine. She was a model for Playboy, did a lot of stuff like that. And I remember while talking to her, I could tell that for somebody that just by her body language, that she was a little nervous. Right. I'm not saying she was like crazy nervous. I mean, she handled herself very professionally and everything, but you could tell she was very nervous. And it was surprising to me that somebody who's been all over the world and is nervous talking to me. So, like I said, it was something that I read off her. I could have been wrong, but with that said, for her, somebody like her who's been all over the world and wanted to, take the time to come talk to us, that shows you the type of class some people have. Man, I remember telling her that, she was 26 and she's already started her career doing modeling and she has her career path is a little different than mine. She has her onlyfriends.com thing going on. But she's an international model and by all means she's international and she's doing her thing. And she started at 21. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if I would have started this YouTube page 10 years ago, where would we be? If the two party podcast would have started 10 years ago, or we'd
be a lot more known.
Yes, and it's very, very surprisingly for me, it's like, wow, I missed out on a great opportunity. Now, like people like you and me, we playing catch up, and the bar is so high now because you got your competition is CBS, ABC now. Our competition 10, 15 years ago would have been, the guy in the kitchen falling on purpose.
Yeah, or a lot of authors. You'd have a lot of authors and a lot of these people trying to do the real quick instant fame. Or
reruns of Hell's Kitchen or something like that before YouTube came in with all these copyright strikes. But it's funny to me because I just keep thinking to myself, man, we just did this 10 years ago. We just did it 10 years ago. We would be so big right now. But unfortunately, you and me, we got a very big hill to climb.
Oh yeah. And I'm, I don't know, like I said, I don't know too much about you, but I know I'm just a working class guy. I'm a business owner. I'm a general contractor. I run multiple different things. I'm a journalist by trade. I mean, I got my press cards here. I mean, I'm a journalist. I do a lot of freelance stuff.
I'm kind of a journalist.
Yeah.
I'm a private investigator.
Yeah. I stalk my guests. I try to stalk everybody that comes on, but at the end of the day, like you're right, it is going to be hard. And like with the YouTube, when I started off, I started doing all audio. I was just going to do all audio podcasts. That was going to be my gig. And then everybody's like, well, if you want to get your presence online and you really want to get your page out there, you got to start throwing some videos here and there. So I started doing a few lives, and then I'm like, well, the lives don't really catch anything on the internet. The searches don't find any of the lives. So I was like, well, I guess I'll have to do a YouTube page. Somebody's like, just do a YouTube page, set it up. And I mean, I think I have, like, no joke, I have like 28 subscribers on there. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's horrible. That's horrible.
I remember when having just 6.
Yeah. I had like 8 or 9 forever, and I was like, dude, it's never going to grow. And then it went up to 28, and it was like, I think it was just people that felt bad for me, so they just went on there and did it, like probably friends and family. And I'm like, cool, now I have 28. But I don't really interact a lot on YouTube. I do post the videos and the episodes. But I'm not like your show. You guys do really good quality on the editing. You put out you generate a lot of good video content. For me, I don't really put a lot of my time into that. And so I think obviously I'm not really reaping I'm reaping the rewards of not really doing anything with it.
I would like to give all credit to me about the editing and everything. So I will. It's all me.
It's a lot of work. People don't realize how much work it is to do all this.
Oh yeah. And especially, all 4 of us bring something to the table at CTS. You got Raphael, my cousin Raphael lives up in New York. He, we do the top 10 together. He brings the comedy aspect. He's funny just right off the top of his head. Yeah. I had to think about if I'm gonna cut it. It's funny when the camera's rolling. Like I'm looking right at the camera when the camera's rolling. You're not as funny.
Right.
For me, but when everybody, it's funny to me because everybody around me tells me all the time I should be a comedian.
Right.
And as soon as I start
talking, the camera comes on, you're like back to serious.
No, yeah. It got to a point one time, I was doing a podcast, a big podcast. And this was just a couple of weeks ago, actually. And during the day of the SEC championship game. And this podcast, I'm not going to give away the podcast and everything. Right. I'm not even sure that he did it. However,
how he's put it out yet.
Yeah, he hasn't put it out yet. And I think the reason why, because I had a panic attack right during the interview.
Oh, no.
And it was bad. And like for him, I mean, for me to continue the podcast was amazing because I remember he asked me how the CTS get started. And I would start talking about my mother and everything. And tears were running back. And then I could feel my blood pressure just going like stroke level. And for me to sit there and just, and try to talk
through that personal moment.
Live
for
on 40 minutes. For 40 minutes. And then I was like, man, I want to apologize. He's, you did great. And then the topic that we mostly talked about already been aired. And so I was like, he cut me. I know he did.
Yeah.
But I don't blame
you're thinking to yourself, this is either podcast perfection or he's cutting me.
Right. And I don't blame him. I mean, I probably would have cut me too, but I was going through something at that particular moment. And if he does put the interview on, I just want to see how good I did. I don't think I did very good.
see it from how he edits it.
Like to see that, because you fully see a full-blown panic attack.
Right.
I mean, I know when my blood pressure goes up because I get a certain feeling.
Yep.
And I just want to, I really kind of just want to see how I did and see how I look. And then I asked him, I didn't ask him beforehand, are we going to do video? He said, oh yeah, we're going to do video.
And then
I had like this t-shirt on, and I was like, okay, let me go put a shirt on. And I put a shirt on. And then I noticed that the shirt had like, baby spill up and stuff like that. And I'm sitting there like,
just trying to make sure you're looking smooth.
Just covering my nipple.
Right. Just like, am I looking smooth or what?
No, not even looking smooth. I'm trying to cover the stains.
Just hide it. Just hide it.
If they ever release the video,
you're in the middle of a thing like this.
Yeah. And so, a lot of stuff is going on, but
that's awesome.
Like Raphael, he brings something to the table. He brings comedy. I mean, funny right off the bat. He's a very funny guy. And then you got Marvin Constant, who somebody I started interviewing.
Are these all people you grew know with? I mean, is that how you guys know each other? Or you just came together?
We just came together. Raphael, I didn't meet him in person till 2019.
Okay.
And he's my first cousin.
Mm-hmm.
He lived up in New York. He grew up in Harlem, New York.
Yeah.
He still lives in Harlem. But we kept in touch through Facebook and stuff like that. It's funny to me because, like, with Raphael, my sisters reached out to my dad's side of the family, and my dad's a very personal guy, and he doesn't really talk a lot about. I'm not saying he doesn't love his family. Right. He talks to his family all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think it's on purpose. I think
he kind of keeps things to himself.
Yeah, he keeps things separated. Like, he'll talk to my cousin Lee, talk to my cousin Allie.
Mm-hmm.
But however, we never talked. I mean, I met some aunts and uncles, but it's not like they're close family members to us.
Right.
They're strangers. And a lot of our cousins on my dad's side of the family are like that. They'll tell you straight up, we don't know each other. Like, we not only do the family, the Lozadas that live in Alabama don't know the people in Puerto Rico and New York,
mm-hmm.
but the people in New York and Puerto Rico don't know each other. Like, so that's so funny. But my sisters reached out to my dad's side of the family and wanted to, try to meet some of my dad's family. And Raphael was one of those people and I was like, I'm not interested. I'm not that I was trying to be a dick or anything. It's
right.
I'm just not interested. I wasn't interested.
You reach a point in life, like I'm 45, I'll be 45 next month.
Yeah.
And you just reach a point where it's like you have a circle of people you trust, you can rely on, and your family that's closest to you. And then it's like when new people come in at our age, it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't think I need anybody else on the bandwagon. We're good.
Yeah. And for me, it was just like, okay. I mean, if I know him, I know him. If I see him, I see him. I say hello. But if it was so important to my dad, I would have known him. Right. So, but Raphael was one of those people on Facebook that he was so hilarious that 1 minute we're just like, just common people on Facebook, the next minute we're talking to each other through text and phone every day.
Right. Yeah.
And then we went to, I went to New York in 2019 and, we hung out. I mean, it was pretty much just him and me. We went to, WrestleMania together.
Nice.
And,
that's the way to hit off a new relationship. Hey, bro, let's go to WrestleMania.
But it was funny because to us it wasn't like a new relationship. It was like we knew each other for like years, but just the first time we seen each other. But when we saw each other, it was like we've been knowing each other for like 50 years.
Yeah, so it just clicked. You guys are family.
Yeah, it was just like that. But he brings something to the CTS. And then you got Marvin Constant. He's a former all SEC linebacker, school teacher, author, self-proclaimed millionaire. That's what this guy lives and breathes Alabama football and working out. And the first time I met him was through my social media consultant, and he got me an interview with him, and I knew who he was because I remember the big play that he did against LSU, which ended his football career.
Mm-hmm.
So he became kind of sort of a legend in Alabama. With that said, we did an interview, and then we did a second interview a couple months later, and we started talking, and so all of a sudden he became a partner. And
very cool.
So that hit the Marvin Constant Show. And what Marvin brings to the table is simply something I love, and not only love, but admire, is Alabama football.
Right.
Roll Tide to all you Oklahoma people.
Right.
And to some of you Florida people, Roll Tide. But I got to meet some people. Like the first person I asked them, can I meet, was Andrew Zhao, former quarterback for the University of Alabama. And our second interview was with Andrew Zhao, which for me was a big thing.
Yeah.
And it's not like Andrew Zhao is a big name or anything. It just, he was somebody that I grew up watching.
Somebody to you.
Yeah. I mean, he's just a head coach of a high school now, but for me, it was somebody I grew up watching. And I was like, golly, I can't believe, man, I was doing the interview. I'm trying to keep my mouth shut because we have a certain format we have to follow.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, I cannot believe I'm sitting here talking to Andrew Zhao, and then the names just start getting bigger and bigger. And we started talking to Tyrone Pothro and Reggie, Kenny Smith, and
that's huge.
Reggie Ragland, and people like people.
And you're
Reggie Ragland's still playing.
Reggie Ragland's still playing. Am I really sitting here?
Yeah, Reggie Ragland's still playing NFL. He just won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yep.
And and then we got the newest member, Stingray. Stingray, I think you may remember, he did the Hell State videos, and he was on Comedy Central and TOSH.O, and he actually has a show on Facebook. I don't plug other people's shows, like Marvin does another show besides the CTS, and Raphael does a lot of projects, and we do kind of like, if you have another project,
right, if you have something you're trying to launch right away, give them a plug.
We plug the Marvin Constant's book all the time, but we don't necessarily plug his other show.
Right.
However, with Stingray, that show was something I was watching on Facebook anyway, and he doesn't need a CTS. That shows you the type of class he is. I interviewed him, and I was like, man, do you want to come on board? And he was like, yeah, sure. It was as simple as that. Right. And then, he came on board, and he's still working on what he's going to do for CTS. He started his first show, and then we got hit with a bunch of copyright claims. And then it was like, Stingray, you got to clean this up.
Right. Right.
You can't do this on YouTube, man. You got to take all this footage of these football plays off.
Yeah. Yeah. I really hate that they do that too. And that's another reason I really don't push a lot on YouTube is I'll get my episodes up, but I hate the fact, I guess I kind of hate the fact of where all this great technology we have, and we're not allowed to, I remember like growing up, MySpace and Facebook, when it first started out and everything, man, you could play music in the background. You'd be wilding out with your friends, hanging out and playing whatever. And there was never an issue. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, it seems like literally like in the past couple of years, it's like, if you even play a song in the background, man, you can be sued. And it's like, you either make your own music or you have to have the copyright or pay for the royalties. And I get it, as an artist, they got to make their money, but it's like, man, can't we just show footage? Like, why can't we just show footage and be okay with it?
Yeah. And just fairness, the show that the other show Marvin's on, I do watch that occasionally too. It's a good show. I honestly forgot the name of it. If I really, I know it's like so bad right now because the people on the show who are probably listening, I'm sorry. I do watch your show. Right. Marvin's great on that show, and and Marvin puts a lot of big names on there. But he doesn't put a lot of big names, but that's what he brings to the table. He brings the Alabama football players. That's the reason why we had the Marvin Constant Show. I truly believe, as for an Alabama fan, our show is the #1 show for all Alabama fans, because we go out there and talk to people that you probably haven't heard in a long time. Or just like Nico Johnson just got, he won 3 national championships with the University of Alabama. He's coaching in college football level now. We had him on, Jeremiah Castile, famous NFL player, he's from my hometown, but he's best known for that big NFL play, the fumble. I mean, how can you beat that?
Yeah, I'm actually looking on your YouTube on your videos right now. I'm looking at a racquetball player, but then you go down, you got Sean Harper. Here's Jasmine, the international model. I mean, I'm looking through, man, you guys just got so many good interviews. What is your, as far as I know that's like mainly a lot of the things you do is you want to talk about the Alabama football. But is it only sports? Are you guys pushing to try to hit other targets, or is it just really kind of what comes?
It's kind of, for me right now, it's kind of, I want to push the sports and entertainment level. It's so funny. I tell this story every time I'm on an interview or every time I'm on a show or something, because it's funny to me. When we first started doing CTS, I never wanted to do an interview style. I wanted to do kind of like a sketch comedy, and I was trying to find people, and it was hard to do that. And so basically what the CTS started as was a store called Carolyn's Treasure Shop.
Okay.
And see, I'm about to get sit tight, everyone. I'm about to get into the story. All right. So
you're in good hands.
The Carolyn's Treasure Shop was a store because my mother was into thrift stores and flea markets and loved to do yard sales.
My mom was the same way.
Yeah. It was just like every Saturday morning, come at 5 a.m. she's calling me, and I'm like, Mom, I'm out of town.
I always thought my mom brought me along just to carry all the crap she bought.
Yeah.
I was always like, she just makes me carry all this stuff. I never I get like 1 5-cent toy, and that's it.
And my mom's living room used to be like, not like nasty, like the hoarders.
Right.
But it used to just be like a bunch of boxes and stuff because, she was in the yard sale. But my mom was always too weak to carry stuff. Even before she passed away, she needed people to help her, carry stuff. For years and years and years, she did this. And the people that had to help her was me and my wife.
Right.
And so what I wanted to do was honor my mom, continue my mom's thing. And we started selling championship rings, little championship rings you found on Facebook for $40, but we were selling for 20.
Right.
Then real life championship belts. I hooked up with a guy who made real life championship belts. We still sell them, but we don't do, we're kind of more focused on the YouTube, but we still sell them. But to have a real life championship belt for, $400, when, and we wouldn't make no like WWE belts, but if you wanted something for your company or your favorite team or something.
Like if I wanted to put something up on the wall, I could just purchase one. Yeah.
But like if you wanted a 2-party podcast, you call me or email me.
There we go. There we go.
But to get something that will cost you $5,000 or $2, I think the most would be about $5,000, but the type of belts we make will probably cost you $2,500. We sell it for like $425.
Yeah.
And real leather, real zinc, everything like that. With that said, that's how Carolyn's Treasure Shop started. And then so what I wanted to do was we made a Facebook page and we started building on our Facebook page. And we got to 1,000 fast. Likes and followers. But I wanted to make like kind of like commercials and little funny commercials and stuff like that. So if you go back to our earlier videos, you'll see like a commercial for Carolyn's Treasure Shop at the end of the interview. And but that's how it kind of started. And I figured that while we push our store, we could interview somebody. And so I was with my social media consultant, and I had this guy that I follow on Facebook, and all the Alabama fans know who he is. He's a comedian. His name is Jermaine Funny Man Johnson. Now, you got to remember, just like this is brand new to me. I never booked anybody. I never did. My first guest was actually a very close friend of mine who played for the University of Ole Miss. And we're both private investigators. And sometimes I work for his company, Magnolia Investigations. We did an interview, and I was trying to find out who am I going to get next. And so I went to the guy's Jermaine Funny Man Johnson's website, and all of a sudden his publicist or agent emails me back and like, yeah, he'll do it. I'm like, we have six subscribers, and this tells you the amount of class that he had. We had 6 subscribers. You can see it on the headline, 6 subscribers. And this man says, yes, well, I'll do your interview. And this is how I met Stingray. The George Floyd murder happens.
Yeah.
Everybody in the world is upset.
The world goes upside down. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, because look, for somebody we just talked about me having a panic attack and all this stuff. For somebody who suffers from a panic attack, I can see that Mr. Floyd was having a panic attack. And I know it's political. I'm not trying to get into.
There's a lot of like, I mean, right down from anxiety to a lot of just panic. I mean, in that moment, that man was going through so many sad emotions before his death. It was horrible.
Right. And I say it's a murder because I've cuffed a lot of people, and not one time I've ever had to stand on somebody's neck. And then when people are sitting there telling you,
never for that amount of time.
I never put my knee on nobody's neck, period. Now I'd be guilty and say that I probably had to wrestle with somebody, and I may put a little elbow in there.
Sometimes, depending on who you're trying to deal with, and I've never been on that side of it, but I've been on the other side of it, where I'm wrestling against the guy trying to cuff me up. But at the end of the day, seriously, 45 years old, man, next month. I mean, I've been through a lot in my life, and I can tell you right now, I've had lots of dealings with law enforcement, good and bad, and I'm friends with a lot of law enforcement. My brother, as a matter of fact, is. But I can tell you right now, man, sometimes going down and scuffling with people just to get them in cuffs, or just to get them contained, just to get them, in a position where you can then deal with them. You got to go through some struggles sometimes. Some guys are going to fight back, some guys aren't. But what happened with that guy was uncalled for. There was no reason to treat that man that way.
No, by no means. And I want to get back to the story, but I want to say this about Mr. Floyd. That video scared the hell out of me. Because I mean, everybody has to make everything political and race related. Look, okay, we're going to talk reality for a second. This has nothing to do about race, and this has nothing to do about politics. You could be a Democrat or Republican. You have to take
all of that out of this situation to view it. Yeah.
When you sit there and okay, let's make it a white cop and a white guy. You sit there and you watch that video, and you suffer from panic attacks. And I know why he was suffering from panic attacks. I'm not disputing that. But when you suffer from panic attacks and you know what the hell he's going through, and then all of a sudden you got a cop sitting there putting a knee on your neck, no, there's no excuse. Now, you can talk about the other situations, and we can go through that one by one, and I have different views.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's humanity. It doesn't have to do with race. It has to do with what is your human nature? What is your character?
Right. Yeah. I have no sympathy whatsoever for those cops in that video. I have no sympathy, because that easily could have been me, because I could be freaking the fuck out. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
And what would they be doing?
Them misread the situation with you, and then same situation could happen. Yeah. Right. It doesn't matter skin color.
We literally saw a man pass away and die because cops didn't want to take the time and call, hurry up with help and get it, because you could tell he was something wrong with him. Yeah. But needless to say, the world went upside down, and so did Jermaine Funny Man Johnson. And this is a guy who went from being this good Christian Alabama guy who, just rolled tide and sat on the couch and everything to went to Birmingham, wanted to tear down some Confederate statues. And he was saying a lot of cuss words, and a lot of people turned their back on him. And I got the first interview. I wouldn't say I got the first interview, maybe people in Birmingham, news sources in Birmingham, but I got the first interview that I know of with him. And I told him, but right before the interview, like, I did not agree with what you did, leave the statues alone. I'm from the South. I see a Confederate statue. Right. And I'm like, you should just leave the shit alone, man. Come on.
And I look at those things. I look at these people tearing up statues and stuff. And I'm like, dude, that thing weighed a ton. It was hard enough to get there. Leave the damn thing alone. Who cares about it? Changing high school. But this is before the interview. Then he explained his reason and told me, and his cousin, and I'll get to this in a minute. His cousin, I'll go ahead and tell you now, his cousin happens to be Marvin Constant. Okay.
My partner. And Marvin had nothing to do with this. I didn't even know I didn't know Marvin at the time. I knew who he was, but I didn't know him. His interview came later on, and well, we talked, and even though we had different views, we still talked, man. By the end of our interview, and by the end of having discussion with you, my views changed. Even talking with Marvin, my views changed on it, because I can understand how Birmingham is a majority Black city. And for you have to, and this was something that Marvin told me privately, He gets mad at me because I said it. We'll just have to deal with it because it was a private conversation. But he was like, for a black man to have to walk down the street and see a statue of, say a Confederate general, knowing that they fought to keep me in chains. I mean, that's messed up.
Right.
That's not his exact quote, but I mean, I get it. Now, when me and Jermaine talked, I got his side. Now, do I care about Confederate statues? No, I don't. This is the South. You drive through Alabama, you're gonna see rubber flags flowing. It's nothing to me, and to a lot of people, it's not a big deal.
I think a lot of people, like older generation or maybe our age and stuff, I think a lot of people recognize it as just history. It's just the first thing, and I think we also recognize that we've been past it for a while.
Honestly, when I see it, I just think of the South and Dukes of Hazzard.
Right.
However, but who am I? I do realize this, that a lot of people that are upset about it are people who are not from the South. And people are here that, but who am I to sit there and tell Jermaine Funny Man or Marvin Constant or even Rafael Lozada that, hey man, you should feel uncomfortable. You should feel uncomfortable because I don't care.
Right.
And Rafael don't give up to flying. He's never coming to Alabama a day in his life. But who am I as a man telling another man that you should feel uncomfortable because I don't care?
Yeah.
So for Jermaine to do, and Jermaine has a lot of class, and I only met him one time, but for a man who took the time to come on a show for 6 subscribers,
yeah,
it was awesome. But that's what happened. We had to pivot. And my pivot was Stingray.
Yeah.
And the only way I knew Stingray was I saw his Facebook, and I friend requested him. And then I was like, hey man, you want to do and just like when I asked him to be a business partner, yeah, sure.
It was just like that.
So Stingray, who was my second episode, was only a replacement for my third episode because eventually Jermaine came on. And and that's how I met Stingray. And then Marvin came along, and of course me and Raphael was always trying to start a podcast together. And so it was so funny but it was back to Jermaine. It was funny to me because he had like 560,000 followers on Facebook, and he went down to like 460 or something like that. He lost 100,000 followers,
right?
All because he said a couple of cuss words.
Yeah.
And really, if you listen to what he said, a lot of stuff was kind of insulting because he was like, man, I'm so pissed off at you white people and this and that. And I get it. And I think the thing, my philosophy was, or what I think what happened was, his fan base was mostly Alabama rednecks.
Right.
And
they're used to hearing the Jermaine they want to hear.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
not the black man that he's going to stand up for himself, and it's like, hey, look, I don't like this.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the talk that I had a couple discussions with people during that same period of time, and I think a lot of what people don't realize is, we forget in America, everybody has this vision of what America is supposed to be. But at the end of the day, let's be real. America is built on cultural diversity. It has been from day one. It's whether you want to, whatever history you want to follow, you have Native Americans, people showed up here from Europe. All of a sudden there's slaves coming over from different countries, different slaves, cultures. And then you look at it from where we are as a perspective today, the population we have in America today, and the diversity of where we all come from. It's all different cultures. And I think it's with the George Floyd thing, I think where a lot of people missed it is the anger that the Black community was feeling. And the Black culture is a very emotional culture. They are a very, very animated culture. They're a very, very in your face type of, let's talk about it. What we're feeling, you're going to see, and they take action. That's how their culture really is. And I think a lot of people just don't realize, like me and you, like you said, I mean, we're from the South. We see certain things. We're just like, whatever, that's been there since 1940. Who cares? And then a lot of people, like you said, maybe they're not from the South. And so emotionally, they get charged with it. And I don't think, and again, it's not a black and white thing. It's literally a cultural, as all human beings, we all have culture. I was raised around a lot of, grew up in Miami and Tampa. I've been around a lot of black people. I've got a lot of Latino. I have Cuban family, a lot of my family's Cuban. So it's like, I've been around a lot of different cultural diversities as well. And I feel every bit of it. And I understand the thinking and logic of every single one of them and why they are the way they are, why they react to certain things.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm going to. It doesn't mean I'm going to act the same way. It just means I understand why they said
it better. I couldn't say it better myself. You hit the nail on the bullseye. For me, it's not my place to tell somebody how to feel. It's not my place. Correct. Jermaine was upset. Yeah. And my whole point of the whole story was two things. One, the amount of class you have to be this local, with a statewide celebrity to come on my YouTube page with the 6 subscribers.
Yeah, it's just a humble. It just shows character. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially after a controversy that he was going through, he still came on.
Yeah,
shows you the amount of class he has. 2, how people just turn their backs on because you disagree. Like, look, for me, I'm a big professional wrestling fan. I love football. I'm a big professional football fan. I used to be a very big NBA fan. I just don't really watch it a lot no more. It's not because of the political stuff. But back to the football, I'm a big NFL fan. I'm not going to stop watching football.
Right.
I mean, it's just some things. Look, okay, you know what? I don't want you to kneel for the flag. What you're doing is wrong. I'm not going to sit there and lie to you and tell you that what you're doing is, just. You should never kneel for the flag. For whatever reason you're doing, you should never kneel for the flag. However, we're two people that don't agree on something. That don't mean I'm going to stop watching you. Right. I can't understand why people want to stop watching, but you can't take 30 years of love and that I have for a sport
and just erase it.
Yeah, erase it. And that's how people are now. Like I listen to a lot of political stuff, and a lot of Republican commentators will say something like Robert De Niro's never been a good actor.
Right. And it's like, no, he actually was a really good actor.
No, Robert De Niro is a legend.
Yeah, there was an era where everything was Robert De Niro.
Yeah, I get it. I don't agree with what he's saying either. I think he's a dumbass too. Yeah. However, I'm not gonna throw away my casino DVD. Like, you lost your damn mind? Like, no. No. The Godfather Part 2, put that in.
Yeah, I think we lose track when we have these these altercations. I call them altercations, but at the end of the day, it's really just a dumbing down of America. But when you have two people that can't communicate, whether it's political or whatever the disagreement may be, when you have two people that just can't communicate over something, and they're willing to, what they call the cancel culture. They're willing to, because I don't agree with you, I'm going to cancel anything that you're about or your business or whatever. I don't understand that, because we live in the land of the free. We live in one of the only nations in the entire world where we're allowed to do what we want. And so we should never want to oppress or put onto someone else that they're not allowed to feel away or see away. Like you said, if they want to kneel for the flag, that's on them. It's not my place to walk over and be the flag police. However, I can have an opinion and say I disagree because it's disrespectful, but it's not my job to go over and be the flag police and start canceling things.
Well, I don't even know about that. If somebody is insulted by, just like Jermaine, he was insulted by that statue, and you go up to him and you want to go up to that person and tell them how you feel. There's consequences to all your actions now.
Exactly.
If you do something, disrespect the flag, and you do it in front of the wrong person, it may be some consequences.
I know a lot of veterans. Veterans. You disrespect that flag, boy, you better watch out.
And it's the same thing with Jermaine. He did not like that statue. He hate driving by that statue. He wanted that statue down. Birmingham said, I'm going to take the statue down. They were taking a little too long. So Jermaine was like, oh, you know what? Guess what? I'm going to get these people right here to help me bring this statue down.
Right.
And so let's flip the coin a little bit. You disrespect the flag. yeah, it's probably not your job to go be the flag bearer, but you may find somebody that finds that job very important, and you may be some consequences and repercussions to your actions. With that said, my point is, because I disagree with you, I'm not going to sit there and just not like you no more.
Right.
Because politics is something about religion, race, and politics that if you don't agree with me on those three things, I shut you out. I can't tell you how many family members have blocked me because they posted something or unfriend me or block me, posted something. And I'm like, that's not true.
Right.
You need it. No, that's not true. Oh, it block.
Yeah. And you're like, wait a minute. We're family.
I be honest with you, if I probably didn't like them anyway.
Right.
So that's the reason why I corrected them.
Poked them.
Yeah. No, not even poked them. Just let them know, like, you're wrong. Why don't you state the facts?
Yeah. We live in a society that doesn't have facts anymore. It doesn't.
Right. We have opinions. But then I got friends from like people I liked for a long time and respected. Put something down and I'm like, that's not true. Why did you put it? And then, unfriend. Hey, that's fine. You can unfriend me. You can block me. But let it be known now that you were spreading lies. Now you didn't know the truth. Now I told you the truth. You can't say now you don't know the truth now.
Right.
I gave you the truth and I told you the truth. You can't say nobody told me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I did. It's right there. But you decided to delete my comment.
Yeah, it's just being ignorant at that point.
Yeah, you're ignorant, and that's fine. You can be ignorant, but don't vote.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Just stay. Stay over here.
Yeah.
Just don't.
You're
obviously not very educated and you're brainwashed. So stay over there.
Yeah, and even being a journalist, like I literally have to remove myself from, because I got to cover some of the media stuff, and so I do follow a lot of this stuff, but I do my research, and there's a lot of times where I'm just like I'm just blown away at the fact that people just post this stuff and they don't research it, they post it, and then when it comes up false, you tell them like, dude, that's not true, it's already been proven false. They won't remove it from their wall, and they want then they want to either, like you said, they either unfriend you or they want to argue that it's true. Yeah. And it's like, show me some cited facts. Show me where you got this information. And then they'll say, well, look at the article. You didn't even read the article. And you look at the article, and the article, it says right on it, op-ed. Or if you go to, usually back in the day in journalism, you go to the bottom of a page, this from private investigating. I mean, you look at something, you'll find a cited source, or you'll find the sources, and you can't find it. And it's like, well, if there's no cited sources, you can't take that as a fact. You have to take that as an opinion piece. And
it's just like on the CTS, we had Karen Turk on our show, and she's somebody that I listen to. I don't make no bones about my political agenda. I don't have an agenda. I say what I believe in, and if you like it, great. If you don't, great. I don't care.
Yeah.
But just like if I interview Karen, who I listen to, same right for a liberal, I won't come on the show. And I'm not the type of show, I'm not going to argue with you. I don't know. I hadn't had the opportunity yet to argue with a guest, but I will treat just the same amount of respect as treated Karen, the same to a big liberal who comes on the show and has a new thing that he wants to, cover. I'm not going to disrespect that guest.
Yeah.
Because I'm from the old school where I want both conservatives, liberals, whites, Hispanics, blacks, Asians. I want everybody coming to my show and love the CTS. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable because of what I believe in. I want you, I'm not going to hesitate to tell you what I believe in, but I don't want you to think that affects the way you should like my channel.
Yeah.
Because I would never do anything if you wanted to come on my channel, like say Two Party Podcast comes on my channel, which I might go ahead and say right now to all the fans of the Two Party Podcast, he will be on the CTS. You didn't know that till now. I just laid it on him.
Boom. But there it is.
That's how you get guests, son.
Hey, I love it. I love it.
With that said, like you can have a different political agenda or a different religious belief or have your views on race different from mine. That's great. Cool. come on the show.
Yeah.
And you'll be treated the same respect as Karen got treated, or you got treated the same respect as Vince Papale from the movie Invincible.
Yep.
Or Jermaine Funny Man Johnson. I told him I disagreed with him, but you know what? We did a show, and afterwards, after I listened to him and he explained it to me, I agreed with him.
Yeah, you can respect his opinion. Yeah.
Not only that, I kind of have the same opinion he has now.
Yeah, you kind of had to reflect on like why he views it the way he does, and then you're like, well, maybe I need to look at what I'm viewing and my perspective on it. Yeah, and
it's funny how
that's what real communication and discussion should be.
It's funny how a conversation can change that.
Yeah, it can go both ways too. We're in a society where, like you said, it can go both ways. Like 1 minute we could be, at the end of it, we could be reflective and respective. And at the end of it, we could also just be like blocking each other and unfriending. It doesn't make any sense these days.
It's funny how, blocking and unfriending doesn't change a damn thing, but all of a sudden you can have a conversation and be disagreeing with each other. Yeah. And all of a sudden you explain. See, the thing about it is I did not argue with him. I listened to him.
Correct.
And that was the funniest thing to me, that how, never talked to him ever again. I'm not saying that me and Jermaine Funny Man Johnson is a fan. I'm still a fan of his. Yeah. I still share all his videos on my Facebook page. Yeah. I'm back to being a fan again. I never lost him he never lost me as a fan. Plus his first cousin, we do a show together. So it's funny to me that but it just hit, that story always shows me like some people, and it really goes back to what you said about, trying to get guests. There's some people, it's like what Marvin said, some people are open. Just all you got to do is walk up and say hello.
Yeah. And I get a majority, no joke. I could go back through we've been through season 1. We're on season 2 now, and I'm up to like 60 guests. And I'll be honest with you, like I could say probably the majority of my first season was all literally liberals. I mean, a lot of these people promoting the stuff they were promoting and wanting to be on my show, they would come on and before the show, we'd talk a little bit of small talk, and we'd talk and they'd be like, yeah, I can't believe where we're at with Trump and this and that and the other. And I'd go, I'm a Republican. But while I'm a Republican, I'm not going to disrespect your beliefs. So if you want to talk politics on the show, we can talk all you want. However, I want you to realize that I'm not going to disrespect you. And I'm not going to disrespect you being a guest on my show promoting your book or your website or whatever it may be. I'm not going to throw it out there that, oh, this is some dumb liberal, follow their book. It's just not cool. I expect the same respect back. Yeah. And that's just how I am.
Now, if they start just blatantly covering BS.
Oh yeah, if they just started openly dumping the 5 gallon bucket of BS.
If I said I give you the same respect.
Yeah.
I will, but if you start just talking BS, I may cut you off. Like, come on, hey, I may stop the video and be like, hey man, listen.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and that's where, and I've been there, a couple guests. I've actually had a couple guests that we went on.
Trump is not an alien. Okay.
Right. I've had a couple guests come on and they said a few things, and then they emailed me later, was like, hey, I've enjoyed the interview, but I'd like you not to air it. And I'm like, all right, whatever. We're cool. I mean, it's no big deal.
My thing, my thing is, it's a story that my wife told me. And my wife's very, I believe Jesus Christ died for my sins. But she told me this story that, because she works in the medical field, and I'm not going to say the company or anything, but she was telling me the story that, she can't even mention Jesus.
Right.
Where she works. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I thought that was the stupidest freaking thing I ever heard in my entire life. I was like, why can't you just, she went, you understand you get fired. I said, what kind of conversation are you having? Are you dumping Bibles on people? I'm in the workforce now. I work primarily by myself, but I also have I work with other people. I've never one time, hey, what's your religion beliefs? I'm a Christian.
You just walking up to, babe, are you just walking up to doors knocking and offering them to watch Town Awakes or what?
Yeah. Now, if somebody asks me, am I a Christian? I can't say it. Yes, you can. It's real simple.
Yeah.
But I may lose my job, Joey. No, you won't.
Yeah.
What they trying to say is don't go in there and your company put Jesus Saves right there on the t-shirt. I understand that.
Yeah, don't go in wearing
your nun. Agree with it.
Don't go in wearing your nun outfit with a big cross and then I'm a Christian. Jesus died for you. Like now, be a little bit
you may get a little trouble
it a little bit.
Now, do I agree with that? No. I mean, as a Christian, you should always say
be proud. Yep.
Yeah, always be proud, and you always say Jesus. Bring Jesus up.
Yep.
I would never tell anyone that are you a Christian? No. I mean, people know me that I'm vulgar,
Yeah. I think people have lost track of, like, again, like we said earlier, we live in one of the freest nations in the world, the freest nation in the world.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it's also based on what? Freedom of religion. That's what the whole basis of the United States of America came from, is us freeing another religious restriction country to come here. And here we can't even be Christian in a free religion nation, but other religions can be celebrated.
Yeah.
It gets weird like that.
Like I said, I'm vulgar. I'm probably not the best representative for the Christian religion.
I say the same thing. I'm not either. My wife, she's always like, and she'll elbow me and kick me under the table sometimes when we're places, and I'm like, I know I'm a Christian.
You sit there and see a video of me and I'm saying the F word like 50 times.
Yeah.
And you say, oh yeah, Jesus saves. I get it. I understand it. But you got to understand this. I'm not afraid to tell people what I believe in.
Correct.
I won't hesitate to tell you what I believe in, even if you like me or not. That's just the way I am. But trust me, I got 500 enemies and 2 friends, and I'm not scared to lose one of those 2.
Right.
Just another enemy. That's just me. Now, does that make me marketable? Probably not. But just like I said before, I would pay somebody I wouldn't pay I would let somebody come and disagree with me on my show, and you can have different views, but I will give you the same platform. Unless it's like you're a Nazi or something.
You come in marching with tanks and stuff. We got problems.
No, Adolf Hitler comes on my show.
We're gonna have some words.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have some words, but no, not. There's a limit to my respect. Some people won't even get on the show.
Yeah.
If a Nazi or some kind of jerk comes on my show, and it never happened, but I would never let somebody like that on my show in the first place. But just because you're a Democrat or a liberal and you say Black Lives Matter or something like that, I mean, yeah, Black lives do matter. So yeah, you can come on my show.
Yeah.
See what's on the political. Oh, we need to wear a mask. Okay. Yeah. Come on my show and we'll talk about it. And we'll talk.
Wear your masks.
I would not even argue with you. I would I would never argue with somebody who on the show that say like, I'm here to support Black Lives Matter. Okay, come on the show and we'll go ahead and put your views out there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and disagree with you.
Try to object to what you're wanting a platform for.
When you come on my show, I want you to feel comfortable enough to come on my show. Tell me what you just like you're doing with me.
Yeah, express the platform. Tell us about it.
Tell me about CTS. You're not one time have you disagreed with anything I said. So for me
I think it's time for me to start disagreeing. But no, I agree 100%. I mean, you got to give people a platform. As far as Black Lives Matter and all these other like political topics, I mean, I honestly, I must be the weirdest Republican anybody's ever met because, for out of high school from 18 and up, man, I was a Democrat, and then when I got older is when I changed.
Too.
Yeah. And then I changed. My grandma and everybody always voted Democrat. So I thought I had to be a Democrat. And as I got older, I realized there were some things I just didn't agree with. And then one of my uncles was like, dude, you're a freaking Republican then. And I'm like, well, let me go change my party then, because I definitely ain't seeing the policy stuff. But I'll be honest, I must be the weirdest one of all because I do see things in both sides that I agree with. And I also have the things in both sides I disagree with. But I don't want to be independent, and I don't want to be a part of a losing party that's just not doing anything.
What happened with me was my thing is you can't lie to me and expect me to believe you 24, and it started. I think I was telling Karen Turk this, that for me, it started from 9/11. And I told this story in an interview with her, and you see it a lot today. I'm just going to say this before I tell you the story. People read headlines instead of reading the article.
Correct. They read the headline before they'll actually get the actual meat
I
of the story.
I know a lot of Democrat and liberal friends of mine that on Facebook will sit there and post something. Trump killed 20 immigrants.
Yep.
And then read the article. Trump killed 20 immigrant policies. And I'm just making something outlandish up, but
it's true.
The
headlines are very deceiving.
The headline's very deceiving. So for me, it was 9/11, and I started kind of like, really? And you remember the scene? President Bush was in the elementary school, and he was reading.
He's down there in Florida. Yeah.
And these people came to his ear, Secret Service or one of his cabinet members came to his ear and said something to him. And all of a sudden he listened. He was like, he listened, and then he went back to what he was doing. And you can see him kind of thinking, just wonder, what should, you don't know what's going on because nobody knew what's going on. And you see him thinking. And then you replay that memory over and over again 6 years afterwards. And then you hear somebody like Joy Behar talk about how stupid and dumb he looked and stupid. I thought he would, even though I would never claim that I can't go back in time and say stuff I said about President Bush, take them back because I wasn't educated enough. I just went by what Lincoln Park said or MMM or, the same thing that these kids today are doing. Yeah. I don't know the facts. I just know what MMM told me. I know what Lincoln Park
what the headline says. Yeah.
I know what the headline said, with that said, when George Behar was talking about how stupid he looked, I thought he looked very presidential. I thought he handled himself like a president, like a real president. And I was very proud. Even though I didn't vote for him, I voted for Al Gore. I was very proud of him. And I'm just glad that he was there to do that. Now, and then you go fast forward to the Chick-fil-A thing. And conservatives are very guilty of this too. The whole, you did not kill Osama bin Laden, Mr. President. America did. Ass run over Fox News. That was stupid. Yeah. The whole nonchalant salute. You know how many times in America I've seen a president give a nonchalant salute, and then all of a sudden President Obama did it. Fox News went crazy over it. Right. Stupid stuff like that. But the Chick-fil-A thing was another thing that was kind of catching my eye because I read the headlines. I listened to the celebrities and Chick-fil-A hates gay people. The vice president of Chick-fil-A said this. He said he hates gay people and he does this. And then for a week, I just went by. I didn't watch the news. Yeah. I just went by what I'm hearing
what you're hearing. Yeah.
Yeah. So a friend of mine came over and said, "Do you want to go do the Chick-fil-A Appreciation Day?" And I'm like, "Sure. I love Chick-fil-A. I want to go eat."
Yeah, I'll get that chicken sandwich.
So out of curiosity, I wanted to know exactly what the guy said. And the first thing I turned on my Xbox 360 because that's what the video game system I had at the time. And I went to YouTube to see if I can find his quote. And I went to a very famous liberal YouTube channel, which I didn't know who they were at the time, but they're the biggest liberal YouTube channel on YouTube. I'll just leave it at that. And the first thing I hear was Chick-fil-A hates the gays. And they get kind of the smuggy laugh and everything. And they was talking about how they're never going to eat Chick-fil-A ever again. So they will go to the quote and quotes. I don't know the exact quote, but it went something like, Chick-fil-A believes in the Christian sense of marriage. Hey, I believe in the Christian sense of marriage.
Right.
We don't believe in divorce and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't want to like people getting divorced either. Right. I can understand that.
What's the point of getting married if you're just going to divorce?
Right. And so I understand. So I listened to the quote and I was like, maybe this is an old thing.
Let me check the date on this.
Because what I was thinking it was going to be, gay people could never come inside my store or come in my restaurant or something like that.
Throwing chicken sandwiches at them and stuff.
At gay people. And it was nothing. And then fine, I kept more and more and more and more and more. I kept listening to the same quote.
Yeah, you're like, none of this has anything to do with it.
Well, it had something to do with, but never one time did he say anything that it was like
specifically ousting the gays.
Yeah, I was looking for I hate gay people.
Yeah, the exact expression.
Yeah, and it was just like, this is everything that he didn't say nothing wrong.
Yeah, they're basically
100% said nothing wrong, but
they're taking out of context what he's saying and making it a headline. It's politics.
Right. And the same thing with President Obama. You know, I voted President Obama, and it wasn't until the Affordable Care Act hit and it affected me, knowing that my deductible went up to $5,000, that I realized I made a mistake.
Like,
and my wife, who was always conservative, told me this is going to be very bad. And I was like, why? Because everybody's going to have health care. And then all of a sudden it hits. And then I'm like, what do you mean our deductible went up to $5,000?
That's not what Obama told me.
Wait, time out. We got to pay how much a year?
Right.
I mean, a month?
Yep.
We got to pay $1,100 a month on insurance?
It's crazy.
And our deductible is $5,000. When did this happen? So yeah, stuff started happening, and I was like, okay, I need to change my views a little bit. And it is what it is. I think people, you know, now these days more than ever with social media and news, CNN is not the number one source of news, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll be honest, like I more and more daily, I realize there really is no good news. That's what a lot of people hear me talk live when I'm on Facebook. I do a lot of the political news breakdowns and stuff, and that's what I do on those. I literally go through the headlines, and listen. It's crazy because there is no good news source. I don't care if you're right-hand news source or left-hand. It's all political theater. They're all playing headlines because they know America, like you said earlier, people are arguing over headlines. They're not arguing over the facts. They're arguing over what they read here and here. You see people on Facebook posts and they're fighting each other with headlines. Like this guy puts this headline and then he goes, well, try to rebuttal me. And the guy rebuttals with another headline of another news station. And it's like, you guys are fighting over headlines. You're not even like putting up facts. You're fighting over news articles.
And it's funny to me because that you probably hear me say this a lot. It's funny to me. It's funny to me. It's funny to me because it's funny to me how people are so brainwashed these days. And to me, I'm not saying don't vote. You know, the days of real news is gone now.
It's been.
I don't even watch it. I try not even watch the news no more because I don't know. Are you telling me the truth?
Yep.
And you know, all of a sudden we impeach a president that did nothing.
Yep.
And but right now, according to YouTube, we can't even talk about a certain subject, or you'll be booted off YouTube.
Yeah, and on most platforms, and even on searches, you go to searches and they're even restricting. Dude, I was looking myself. I do this often, like once a year at least. I'll look myself up and just see what's on the internet about me. And I encourage everybody. I tell the audience this all the time. Go ahead and search for yourself. Don't search yourself, because I searched myself one time. I kept going to porn sites. I was like, whoa. You're like, man, I look good.
That is not the real size.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's one of those. I'll search and I'm like, man, there was information there last year that is no longer even on the internet of me, like just weird stuff. And I just find it, you know, you got to really do your research. And at the end of the day, there really is no good media. And I think like you said, the brainwashing part of it comes in where, to me, it comes into where if you really believe this party has your best interest, and then you want to believe this party has your best interest, and then you watch what we've been going through during this pandemic, like we've literally watched both parties argue over our taxpayer wallet of how much money they're going to give back to us out of our own wallet.
Right.
And we're supposed to go, well, I'm with them. And the other people are going, I'm with them. And everybody's arguing. But at the end of the day, dude, they're holding our wallet hostage. Neither party's doing good for us. Neither party's doing any good.
And people don't understand that stimulus money is our money.
Yeah. And it kills me. And people are like, well, what about this foreign aid package? And I'm like, it is a foreign aid package, you know, because at the end of the day, does Flint, Michigan have fresh water? No. So why are we paying for gendered studies? Okay. Does Ohio have the bridge that's collapsing that people drive over to work every day? Have they got that fixed yet? No. Okay. Well, then we don't need gender studies.
And guess what? And those people that usually people in Flint, Michigan are the ones that voting Democrat.
Yeah, and the ones that are not getting their voice heard either. You know, that's the problem, is the ones that are like, I realize I see through the sand. I literally am going to vote Republican this time, and they do. And then they get what we're seeing now, where people are like, there's no election fraud, but really we're already seeing where people's votes are being oppressed.
I think it's because celebrities are, I mean, not celebrity, people are listening to celebrities.
Yeah, the influence.
Really the best interest. You know, I'm a big, the Rock, Dwayne Johnson, you know, once again, I'm not going to tear up my WWE network card. You know, I'm going to still watch The Rock, even though he endorsed Biden and Kamala Harris. However, he's not a real person. He don't know what he's talking about. He's up at 4:30 in the morning working out, and then after he finishes working out, he's working 16 hours a day on a movie set. Then he going to bed. He don't know what's really going on in today's world. He's too busy counting his money.
Yeah, he's got product endorsements. He's got royalties coming in from movies from 10, 20 years ago.
The only thing that man knows right now, he knows that a Democrat went up to him and said, you know, right now people are poor and Biden will help them. Okay, I will endorse him. That's all he knows. I'm not saying The Rock is an idiot. No, I'm saying he's The Rock is a very intelligent young man. Well, he's not, he's older than me. The Rock is a very intelligent human being, and he's a man's man. However, he don't know what the hell he's talking about, because 20 years prior to that, he was on the Republican National Convention because the WWE told him to go there. Yeah. So, you know,
it's crazy how money, you know, I mean, everybody needs money. You know, you got to pay bills. You got to be an adult. But at the end of the day, it's crazy how money influences so many things. And then, like you said, celebrity influences. A funny thing you just mentioned, though, was like, I used to get my information from like whatever, music or a song, or that's how I was growing up with me too. You know, you'd hear in a song, like I love, you know, a lot of the old hip hop and stuff. So like, you know, you'd hear like Fuck the President, or, you know, any of these old school hip hop songs. And like Ice Cube was very politically influenced. And so a lot of his old music was like that. And it's kind of one of those things where you're like, growing up, you heard those songs, you liked that music, and it was like, that was how you were. And so it's sad to know that even nowadays it's the same thing. So a new artist comes out, they're going to start telling us, you know, screw Trump, vote Biden, boom, next thing you know, you're endorsing that.
And it's been like that for years. I was always so blind to see it.
Yep.
I mean, you can't easily get brainwashed, and it's ignorance. But however, till people start waking up, and I don't think anybody's ever going to really wake. I think it's been like this for years now. It's gotten 10 times worse.
I feel like it's just getting, it's like the dumbing down of America. I feel like we're just getting worse.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And the fact that what we just saw in November, in which I'm not going to talk about, but I'm just going to say that it was kind of blatant.
And, there's no hiding on both sides. Honestly, on both sides, I don't think they're hiding anything anymore. I think, and a lot of people are like, well, look, the left, they're not hiding anything. Dude, the Republicans are doing the same thing. I mean, look at Mitch McConnell. Yeah. You couldn't ask for another.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this guy just straight up waited until he won the election, then turned around and said, I am on this side. I'm going with Pelosi, and Biden is going to be in on the 20th. I mean, dude, you can't get any worse than that.
I tell people all the time, look, man, hey, look, it's so bad that we had a president. Look, I was skeptical about Trump.
Oh, I was too, man. I the whole time I was laughing. You know what I compared it to was freaking Schwarzenegger. I'm like, dude, we're gonna have Schwarzenegger, the governor of California. Now we're gonna have Trump as the president. This is great.
But for some of the historic things this man has done in Jerusalem,
and he'll never get credit for. He'll never get credit.
North Korea is the big one. I mean, this is just history.
Yeah.
And it got dumbed down. Like, I remember watching CNN when he walked across the
North Korean border for the very first time.
And shook Kim's hand. And then Anderson Cooper came on. This is the disgusting day in America. Like, what the?
Like seriously?
Are you really? And then Don Lemon's like, this is horrible. I mean, it really got to a point where they became the Fox News of Fox News did to President Obama, because no matter what you say, President Obama did some good things.
He did do some good things. Yep.
But was he the greatest president of all time? Hell no. But is he a historic president? Yes, very much.
Yeah.
I would actually, and people, my Republican friends will probably hate me for this, and I'm pretty sure that some of my Democratic friends already don't like me now. I would go as to say that President Obama deserved his head on Mount Rushmore due to the historic factor of his presidency.
Yeah, I think that the difference is the transparency. Is we didn't get the transparency of his administration until after, which is where we heard all the bad stuff.
Well, I knew, well, right now, he goes up there and he's lying just like the rest of the Democrats.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of hurts your feelings that, somebody that historic is playing politics. But I don't think he understands how historic he really is. Mm-hmm. He's the very first Black or African-American president.
He impacted a lot.
A lot of people. And I mean, he's a hero to a lot of Black and, a lot of people of color. Mm-hmm. And but right now you go up there and you lying just like Nancy Pelosi, and it's sad, but that's politics. I mean, that's why I don't want somebody like Tim Tebow to get in politics.
Right.
Like, no,
he's going to be corrupted. Yeah, he's going to get corrupted.
Just no.
We don't want to ruin Tebow.
I really stand by that. I really say because of historic, how important his presidency was.
Yep.
I would say that maybe, and I'm not saying it will happen. I'm saying maybe we should have talks, maybe having his face put on Mount Rushmore.
Right.
Just due to the fact of how historic his presidency was.
We could do his face with Trump's wig.
I mean, it's something to talk about. I'm not saying
I agree. I 100% agree with that, because as much as I could find a million ways to bash the things his administration did wrong, culturally and historically, his 8 years really impacted America in ways, and in a way it did divide some, but it also brought together some cultures that would have never shook hands.
I wouldn't even go and say all that. I'm just saying that the fact that he was the first Black president is historic.
Yes, in itself. Yeah.
When you sit there and think about somebody like Emmett Till,
mm-hmm.
or Martin Luther King, or some people that lost their lives. There's numerous other people. Just names just couldn't come up the top of my head. But somebody like Emmett Till, who lost his life
mm-hmm.
for something he really didn't. It's now being proven that something he didn't even do, and for him at least, So I mean, think about it. Emmett Till. No, I'm not going to race and everything. It's just the fact that if you listen to that story of a boy who got murdered all because somebody said something that he did. He whistled at somebody. That was our history. That was what the United States, the South, where we live.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Was what it was like in that time. And for now, 65, 75, 85, 95, 53 years later, we have a Black president.
Yeah.
Shows you how far the United States come. So yeah, he's a very important person in the United States history. I hope he knows how important he is to America. And I hope one day that he doesn't become, he stops the politics.
Yeah. I think he should. There comes a point where the political theater is what it is when you're a politician and you're actively on the scene. And I agree with you that I think that at this point, why not? He's already done his 8 years. He's not coming back. So why not just him and his wife step out of it, be honest with himself and be honest with the nation?
Yeah, because
this is the legacy I want to leave behind, and this is what I meant to do.
He's the first president. He's the first president to bash our present.
Yes, a current.
That is correct. This is the part that I want you to edit. He's the first president ever to bash the current president. So what I'm trying to say is the former president of the United States is now bashing the current president. That's never in the history of America has that ever happened.
Yeah.
You never seen President Bush bash President Obama.
Yep.
You never saw President Clinton bash President Bush.
Yep.
You never saw President Bush bash President Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you never saw Reagan bash President Bush. And Carter didn't bash Reagan.
Yeah. And that's always been an unwritten rule where the next president always advises. I mean, we've known this. This is historical. The former president always advises the new president when he steps into office transitioning. It's never been where, like you said, where you've had one bash the other.
Well, in all fairness, now we talked about propaganda and lies. I mean, how stupid can you be to sit there and think that America elected a Muslim terrorist from another country? We're you think about it. In 2008, I had literally was having talk you talk about me getting blocked and unfriended because you honestly believed that our country is so stupid that we will we will elect a president who was a terrorist.
Right.
7 years after we just got hit by a terrorist attack. And there's people that will sit there and say that he was a Muslim and he was a terrorist and he was this and he was that. He was not born in this country. I'm like, you're okay. You're stupid.
Right.
Okay, you're a moron.
Right.
Now let's fast forward. Who was right there doing the little, hey, let's see that birth certificate. So I can understand President Obama's views on like, okay, I ain't gonna help you.
Yeah, dude's been bashing me in the media for a while.
Look, yeah, take your ass back to Fox News.
Yep.
Yeah, but so I can understand that, but right now we don't have real news, and I don't know if we're ever gonna get back to real news. I don't know if our political parties will ever stop being this corrupt, because right now our political parties are so corrupt.
I honestly think we're at a breaking point here. And I know a lot of people talk about, we're heading into a civil war. We're already in it. This is the beginning of it and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know how far that's going to go, but I will say at the end of the day that we're in a point in our society, period, where we're not going to go back. All these people that are like, man, it was so good. 5 years ago, everybody got along, or blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. We're not going to go back. We as a society, historically, while history does repeat itself to a degree, we as a society are not going to go backwards into this whole united, we're all in unity and this and that. You know what was weird is you brought up 9/11. What was the weirdest thing about 9/11 was that we were at a point where the country was all in this weird divisive craziness under Bush, and then 9/11 hit, and what happened? We all got united under 9/11 and under the patrioticness of saving and helping our neighbors and making sure we were all...
Until you got on a plane and you saw somebody from...
Right, and then we went through that period where everybody was Islamophobic,
Because in 2002, in 2002, we got on a plane headed to New York. I was with my dad and my stepmom, and I went to New York for the first time, got on a plane for the first time, and right in front of me was somebody, of
Indian descent or something.
Oh yeah, Indians, and I was watching him like a hawk.
Yeah. Up there like...
Because, you think about it.
Like it was a drink.
Yeah, it was just 7 months right after 9/11, and I was watching him, and hell with you if you call me a racist. I was scared. First, I was scared of being on a plane, and second, I'm like, what the?
Yeah, but it was weird that it brought our nation into what I would consider probably the most real unity we've ever seen. Honestly, we did all come together as a nation for each other. However, we did go through that period where everybody was just every Muslim was a terrorist.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for them, they caught the brunt end of that. But again, I don't think we're going to reach a point in society where because Biden's calling for unity or this person's calling for unity, I think our political parties are so corrupt. And here's the sad part about it is people that support both sides of and support each party, they know the corruption is there, but we're willing to accept it and we're willing to go about our day and we're still willing to vote along party lines. And as long as that continues, the corruption is allowed to go on and get worse. And so because nobody's going to stand up and stop it and nobody's going to call it out, we're going to continue to let them hold our wallet hostage and then tell us when we need help or when we don't and what they can spend it on and what we can't.
That my friends right there is he said it better than anybody's ever said it before. Till we stand up, and we have to stand up to these people, and because we're voting the wrong, it seems like like, that's why I said I hope Tim Tebow never does politics, because you can see somebody who's so humble, so likable, and then all of a sudden one day you're gonna see him.
One headline's gonna ruin him.
Yeah, Tim Tebow was real prostitute or something like that. I'm like, no, was he?
Tim Tebow went to Chick-fil-A and bashed the gays. That's what happened.
Yeah. Yes. That's exactly. He'll do a sermon one day. And, because it's just getting stupid. It's no more other way to say it. It's just the fact that, look, it's stupid right now. The politics, the fact that we had a president just now, like we just had, who probably should go down as the greatest president, one of the greatest presidents. Conservatives are going to hate me for this. I would say Bill Clinton was a good president.
He had his moments. He did.
Look at the economy.
I'm not talking about the cigar moment, but he had his moments. You want to talk
about Trump and the economy? Look at the economy that President Clinton had. I know there's a lot of Democrats right now. I mean, Republicans who like me going out, delete.
Yeah, but he didn't go there.
No, he was a good president. One of the reasons why, because he worked with he worked with the Republicans. Newt Gingrich has a lot. They, even though they were bashing each other on camera, they worked with each other.
I think what we gotta realize as a society, and I know it's gonna not probably happen, but what we gotta realize is we gotta stop being party line people. It's not about parties. We gotta start being where. There's things across the aisle we can all agree on. So let's be real about it. Pollution and this whole climate control thing. Everybody has their opinion on climate control. I know if I walk outside with my wallet and it's snowing outside like it is in Tulsa right now, and I start dishing money out of my wallet at the snow, it ain't gonna go away and make a beach. And so climate control to me, to go jump in and throw billions and trillions of dollars of cash to a foreign entity or an organization, it is not going to change the weather. It is not going to make things hotter or colder at the North and South Pole. It is not going to do anything because they did it for years and it didn't change anything. We don't need to throw money at climate. What we need to do is continue with clean green energy. And I don't mean the Green Deal. I mean, we're already looking at EPA standards now that are already lower in pollution now in the United States than it's ever been. And that started under Obama and worked all the way through Trump's presidency. So the EPA can show numbers. We have very clean air now. California is not smog anymore. And it used to be when I lived there. There's a lot of things that have gotten better, and we need to keep on that path. But it boils down to this. If you want to talk about taking care of the environment and climate control and all these things, it takes each individual doing their part. When you see trash on the ground, pick the damn shit up and throw it in the garbage can. I tell my son that all the time, man. Hey, bud, can you run over and pick that up and throw it away? It's just do your part. When I go to the beach, when I go vacation down in Florida, where I'm from, me and my wife, dude, I get back to my hotel room. I got a pocket full of cigarette butts. I pick shit up when I'm on the beach because I want my son to enjoy that. And even
so, how is
like that's gross, But
so
I
how
do
is
it.
So how is Panama City doing these days?
Yeah, rough, right? It's rough, but it's one of those things like, and then you look across the aisle on the other side. I mean, I do want businesses to succeed. Here's the thing. I don't go to work every day. I don't own a business. I've owned several businesses. I don't go do that to not make money. I do it to make a profit. And if I'm not making a profit, I don't need to practice. I've been doing construction 27 years. Do I think I need practice swinging my hammer anymore? No, I want to make money when I swing my hammer. And so on the Republican side of it, I want businesses to make profit. I want people to get rich. Why not?
I want to tell you a story. I'm not going to give out no names or anything. I'll tell you a story. So this was a while ago. And I got to hide the state too. Because
keep it down.
the person will know who I'm talking about. So I walk into my dad's house, and I was like, "Hey, Pops, hey, Joe, what's going on?" Yeah. So I'm sitting down, and I saw the phone ring, and he was talking, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Hold on, let me see who the fuck this is." My dad likes to cuss.
Yeah.
So anyway, he picks up the phone. I'm making up names here. Hey, Timmy. Hey, Theo, how you doing? I'm doing good. What's going on? And they start chit-chatting. I'm just nonchalant looking around. He's like, hey, Timmy. And he hits me on my shoulder. Listen to this. Hey, Timmy, you got a job yet? He's like, nah, I don't got it. No, Theo, I don't got no job, man. It's hard to get a job down up here.
Right.
I said, oh, okay. Hey, Timmy, Do they got Mexicans where you are? Yeah, yeah, T.O. By the way, the people who don't speak Spanish, T.O. is uncle in Spanish.
Yep.
And for the Spanish people like who is like, that's not how you pronounce it, you dumb mother. Yeah, T.O. There's a lot of Mexicans down up here. It's Mexicans everywhere. Hey, Timmy, do they got a job? Yeah. So my pops hit me on the show. So what's the problem? So my point is this. My point to that story is right now, it really and truly, it's so easy to get a job, but people are going to understand that you have to grow at that job.
Mm-hmm.
And where I'm coming from is that take this YouTube channel, for example, take the Two Party Podcast. Right now, I'm only speaking for myself. I can't speak for you.
It can't go overnight.
Right. I'm making $0. It costs me more to keep this thing running.
Yep. Time, money. Yep.
Yeah, it costs me 10 times more. I'm not making a dime off the CTS Interview Room. I'm making no money right now, but the plan is to make money.
Yep.
I can't not stop now because I'm not making no money, and then think that I'm going to one day, get paid for this. Right. It's a lot of work to this, and I want to get paid for it, and so you got to put your time in. You got to do this. And just like what you said, you go hammer. You may not make a lot of money at this particular time, but, put your hard work in and, put the effort in. And then one day you may manage your own crew, or you may be owning the company, or be working behind the higher ups. It really depends. That's why I tell my kids all the time, like, look, they say having a college education is not worth the money no more. Well, I'm here to tell you, if you have a college education, you got a degree, you're guaranteed to get a job.
Yeah, you're a lot better chance to get a job than you do if you don't have one.
Right. Am I saying that you're going to get the job that you want?
Nope.
No, I didn't say that. I said, because a lot of people get out of college, like I got a degree in journalism or communications, and I want to be an anchor.
And never make it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You want to be a degree in business. I want to be the vice president of a CEO. Okay, cool. You know what the mailroom is?
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah. But you see, here's the kicker. Because you have that college degree, if I'm going to the same job interview is for $25,000 a year, if I'm going for that job and you just need a starter out job, guess who's going to get that job? Why? Because you got that college degree. Is that fair? Yes. Because that person put in the 4 years of hard work and dedication. And as somebody like me who just decided to not go to school and not work, and didn't put the effort in school like I should have. And then when I decided that it was time, it was already too late. I was broke and had kids. Whose fault is that? I made the wrong decisions in life. So it's one of the things I tell my kids all the time. You're going to learn the easy way. You're going to learn the hard way, but either way, you're going to learn. So put in the work now, listen to me, make the right decisions, and you don't have to suffer later.
Yep.
And right now, everybody has that attitude now is gimme.
Yeah.
Gimme. I want free college. It's not free.
Man,
you don't have to pay for it.
My $48,000 in student loan debt from getting my engineer's degree is ridiculous. And yeah, I'd love to have it erased. It'd be great. Just erase that crap. But let's be real. If you're going to erase my debt, I want a choice in it. And I'm going to leave that student loan and keep paying on it. And I'd rather you start erasing my mortgage.
I wonder if these people.
I want them to erase stuff that I can use.
I wonder if these people really think, and shame on the President Biden or President-elect Biden. Shame on him and shame on other Democrats to talk about $15 an hour.
Yeah, being a big stepping stone.
Yeah. Do you ever go back in time and realize and think, why was bread 5 cents a loaf? Or do you ever go back in time and think, why was milk 30 cents a gallon? Or you can go to McDonald's and a hamburger was 10 cents. Okay. Right now we're printing money like it's crazy. We just keep printing money and printing money. Our currency is worth nothing now.
We're devaluing the dollar daily.
Yeah. at one time the dollar was probably worth in other countries probably worth. You could go to another country with $1, and I shit you not. You could say I'm being a little condescending. I shit you not. You could probably go to a country, name your country, and Peru. Go with $1, and you could buy a mansion.
Yeah, there's still places today where if you go there and you say I'm buying in American money, in American currency, it is worth quadruple what their currency is.
Yeah, but think of how it was worth in 1955.
Yeah,
1960.
exactly.
Yeah.
60s and
before
70s.
We started print.
Yeah, you go to Costa Rica and own part of it.
Yeah. Before you started printing money like crazy, and that's why right now it's so funny. Democrats kill me. Because what was the one thing when President Obama was running for office, the one thing that we as a nation was concerned with, the national debt. $7 trillion. President Bush just put us in debt.
Yep.
We were in 2 wars. And of course, at the time, I was just, we're the national debt. Didn't know what the national debt was. National debt, this and this. Then all of a sudden, President Obama gets out of office and we were up $20 trillion. And nobody was saying a damn thing.
Yep.
I didn't even hear the national debt ever. I don't even hear it now.
Nope.
You know why? Because President Trump, I think, I could be wrong, but I think he only spent in his 4 years $1 trillion, maybe $1 trillion.
They've gone. It's gone. The deficit's actually gone quite a bit up, but it's because of. It's part of the transition from Obama's presidency.
Well, how much is it now? Educate me.
I don't know exactly. I could Google it. We could Google it real quick. But
President
it's one
Obama
of those things. When he left office, there was a high deficit.
Yeah,
because Trump took that on, and then he had to fix a lot of stuff that Obama left.
Yeah, so
the military cost money.
President Bush left, it was $7 trillion. Okay, President Obama, it was 20. Now, what was it?
So it says the final tally of the budget deficit for 2020 is $3.13 trillion. That ain't too. I mean, hey, if they're able to print, or they're able to print up $907 billion to go overseas and give us $600, I don't think 3.13 trillion deficit is really all that bad, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and
I mean, it sucks, but it says our shortfall is 984 billion.
But okay, so altogether, so people who can't add, how much is the national debt altogether right now?
Let's see, double the previous record. Government debt totaled about 27 trillion by the end of the fiscal year. That's what it says.
So Trump is another person that spent a lot of freaking money.
But again, you know, I like to remind people that we came, like you said, off Obama. We had a big national debt when he left office, and then he cleaned out a lot of stuff. He cleaned out the military. He cleaned out. He let things get depleted. So when Trump came in, he wanted to do all these things with the military and help with the depleted areas, and he did. And when he did, that was an immediate. It's like me or you going to a new job to become the manager and handle accounting. We go to a new job where the last accountant sucked and he spent all the money, and we show up and now we've got to get new paper towels for the bathrooms. We got to get new stuff for our workers. So we're going to spend a lot of money just coming in the office. It makes us look bad up front, but at the end of the day, we're trying to get the place running efficiently. And in order to do so, we have to pay off old debt, and then we have to spend money to continue to make money. Yeah. And so I think under Trump, I think he's done really good, considering he's had to spend money because he was left with a lot of depleted systems.
Bottom line is this, y'all. Start learning Chinese.
Right. Correct.
That's where we're headed.
Well, start getting your yen. You know, I need to start transferring my dollars into yen because they said by I think it's 2028, the Chinese economy will surpass us because of the way that we're printing money like no tomorrow. You know,
and the bad part about it is, I don't care what you say, Nancy Pelosi is a 10 times smarter person than I'll ever be.
Right.
Joe Biden is a 10 times smarter person than I'll ever be. College professors are 10 times smarter people than I'll ever be. But these are the people sitting there like, hey, look, you got to do it. We got to do it. Get Trump, Orange Man bad. Orange Man.
Well, I was going to mention that earlier. I have several friends of mine that we're still good friends, and we've been, grown up together and stuff. And we've had the discussion, and I'm like, why did you vote for Biden? And they're like, I don't care who it was. I just want Trump out. And I said, so you threw your vote in the hat just because you didn't want a man you don't even know personally, let alone as our president, because you've ignored him for 4 years. You threw your vote against somebody you hate just to get him out of office, even though you can admit the person that you voted for is someone you don't want in office. And that was the conversation. They said, I don't want Biden in there, but I definitely don't want to keep Trump in.
Right. And it's a conversation I wish I could have had my great grandfather before he voted for Biden. It's, you know, I wish I would have got.
Yep.
You didn't catch that.
Look,
everybody's looking, everybody's like, you should have had a conversation with your great grandfather. Yeah. Anyway, it's so petty now. It's like, I just wanted this person. It's like the same thing happened in 2016. You know, some people didn't even know why they didn't want Hillary Clinton president. I just didn't want her in there.
Yeah.
Is there a reason? Yeah, I can tell you the reasons. I didn't want her in. But then again, in 2008, guess who I was voting for? I was voting for Hillary Clinton. I wanted her. You know why?
Yeah.
Because the kid that was in college heard free college.
Right.
I didn't know how this was. I just heard free college.
Yeah, 2016, Hillary Clinton. Here was I had a lady who was an older lady who was a big Hillary supporter, and we had a big discussion. She was actually a client of mine. I was at her house doing work, and she brought up the topic, and we started talking about the presidency and how it was funny about Trump coming in and, you know, what would happen. And she said, you know, what's your opinion on Hillary? And I said, I'll be honest with you. And I said, don't take this the wrong way. I said, I have nothing against a woman leader. I said, but I think right now, 2016, because we have so many overseas conflicts and foreign stuff going on, because at that point we still were dealing with North Korea and a lot of crazy things in the Middle East still going on. I said, I'll be honest with you, I don't think now is a time for the United States to put a woman in leadership position as the president, because nations that don't look onto women as powerful, like Iran, Iraq, a lot of Middle East, they down women, even China. I said, I think if you put Hillary Clinton as the leader of our nation, as a woman in the middle of a war and conflict with the US, we would be at an actual war on our soil, because these nations would immediately put down because of the fact we have a woman as a leader. And I said, now, if you fast forwarded 4 years, I said, 2020 comes or 2021, I said, Hillary Clinton would be great then, because hopefully the next president would get rid of all those conflicts. And so we've seen that. I mean, we've already seen that Trump kind of cleaned up a lot of this stuff. So now if we had a woman president come in, I would be okay, because Trump's kind of set the stage for a non-conflict administration to come in. Unfortunately, the only one we're going to probably get would be Harris. And that lady is all about digging dirt.
Yeah, it is a question I always wanted to ask, and I'll ask it right here on the show. So people talk about reparations. People talk about breathing. What's it called again?
Reparations.
Okay. People talk about reparations. So how is that exactly going to work? Okay. So somebody told me the descendants of slaves will get, money from the government.
Yep.
Okay. Now, neither here nor there. So now so does that mean everybody who has a descendant of a slave? So if my great grandmother was a slave, does that mean even though I'm white, am I going to get money?
Right.
Well, and then the guy was like, no, you're not, you're white. So what if you don't have a descendant of a slave? Do you still get money? Yeah, because I'm black.
Right.
This is a real conversation. I'm sitting there like, wait,
but so I think what's crazy with history is people don't realize the amount of European, white, and Irish slaves that were brought to America.
Yeah. So my point is, right? People. So how's that going to work? It's going to be just blatant that if you're black, you're going to get money.
That's it.
Or is it going to really be if you're a descendant of a slave? And then how much? And keeping this in mind, you're only getting back your very own money. Right. You're not getting back the government's money. I mean, yes, it's the government's money, but you're getting back money. And guess what? Who's going to pay?
They're paying you out of your own wallet.
You're going to be paying hella taxes. And you're going to be okay with that? Because basically when you're paying for $15 loaf of bread you know, you basically going to give that money back to the government.
We're gonna reach a point under something like that. We're gonna reach a point where you and I can't be homeowners. You and I can't own cars. We can't afford a car. It's gonna come to a point where, like, I mean, if you start doing that and you start taxing to compensate those amounts of money that you're free education, free healthcare, reparations, all these things, you start handing and printing that stuff out. At some point, in order to make your political theater and politics look good to get reelected, you've got to bring the deficit down. In order to bring the deficit down by handing out free money, you got to keep printing. So how are you going to do that? You're going to hit the biggest markets. What are the biggest markets? Small business is what supports, that is the backbone of our nation, not big box stores, small business. So small business is going to get hit hard, and real estate. Those are the two industries that are going to get smashed when we start handing out money for reparations and free medical and all this stuff. So me and your property taxes go sky high. The real estate markets crash, which means all investors hide their money or they move far away. Just like under Obama, a lot of people took their businesses and moved them overseas because they weren't getting taxed as much.
Right.
I mean, it's common sense what's really going to happen. You know, I mean, it's not a sustainable economy.
Yeah, I think it's like what you said. I think we're at the point of no return.
Yeah.
I hope we can return.
Oh, I hope so.
Man, I think basically we're gonna need that good old fashioned ass whooping.
I think it's that, and I think it's really just being, you know, you've got good friends from backgrounds and different cultures. I have good friends, and I think it's really a matter of rallying around with who we love and unite with, and saying and having a conversation and saying, hey man, when this shit gets bad, bro, I've got your back. I'm not for the government. I'm for you.
Yeah.
I'm not for the parties. I'm for you.
I'm gonna say this. I say, yeah, because you and me are both in the social media game. I'm gonna say this: turn off your social media.
Yes.
And turn off the news. And I'm telling you, the world's gonna be a different place.
I do it, and sometimes even a day or a week is enough, and I'm just so relaxed. There's no stress. I feel so good.
And then all of a sudden you put Facebook on, some freaking jackass just put something stupid. And you're like, mother.
Yep, ruined my whole day.
But I can't, because you see, that's the thing about social media. You have the platform now to put down and write down anything that you think of, or anything that you believe in, or anything that you just popped in your head, and you can just write it down and for the whole world to see. Yep. Now, I don't like you no more.
Right.
And that's why it kills me, because if I probably on my personal page, I probably got, say 600 friends. I probably got 600 that people blocked me or because or unfriended me because I put something they didn't like, or I commented on their little thing. Cousins, especially in the Trump era, because if you put something stupid down, I'm going to correct you.
Oh yeah,
hey, that's a lie. Yep. You're not really telling the whole truth. Unfriend. I'm like, well, I didn't know you anyway, so it's very shocking to me. It's very, it's just the way the world is now, and that's why earlier today we was talking about the CTS, because you have a different religion of mine, because you're a different race, because you have a different political agenda. That don't mean you can't come on my show, and that don't mean I'm not going to let you talk about what you're following. I may not believe in what, but my platform is here for you. Correct. To talk about what you are. So if I have let's say I have a liberal Muslim, I don't even use religion. Let's say, let's use politics, because this whole show right now has been about politics. Let's say I have a liberal come on my show, and he's talking stuff, and is like, he's not really telling no lies, but he's just spreading his platform and everything. You come on, as long as you're not really lying.
Yeah. Like, as long as if I do come back and say, where did you hear that? I want to hear the fact.
Yeah.
And if you can't present the fact, I'm gonna ask you live on the show. I'm gonna say, can you just rebut that? Because there's no need to say something that's not true.
The number one thing you can do if you disagree with somebody, just keep asking them questions.
Oh yeah, because they'll reveal it.
Yeah. And that's when they get angry. When you're having a discussion with somebody and they get angry because you asked them a question. I don't know how many times innocent. I'm just, where did you hear that? Not because I wanted to, smash you. It's just, I really I was at the time, I was really actually believing you. Where did you hear that?
Yeah.
And they'll get so mad that you didn't hear, like, how dare you question? Like, what the fuck? No, I didn't question you. I just want to know where you heard that.
It's on Snopes. I saw it on Snopes.
Yeah. So I can read up on it and see what you're talking about. I'm not trying to, and that's where I learned that if you really want to snoop, it's a girl on there, Caitlin Bennett, I believe. She was on InfoWars. She'll go out there, and I was just like watching her get people angry.
Yeah.
And this is a young lady. She's a conservative. She'll go out there to these protests and everything and just start asking questions. And these people get so freaking angry. Like they're mad and they want to fight her. And she's, like, look, I'm 6 foot 260. I'll say this: I'm not the baddest man in the world, but the bad doesn't mess with me that much.
Right.
I don't fear many people, but with that said, this girl has no fear. She'll go out there and just, you're stupid. Yeah. It's like, wow. But her game plan is real simple. She just goes out there and just asks questions.
Yeah. Expose them by just asking them questions.
So do you believe? So you think Trump is a racist? Yes, Trump is this. Well, tell me the one thing that Trump said is racist. What?
Right.
What? Are you kidding me? He said, no, just tell me one thing. He said Mexicans were murderers. No, he didn't. What? You
must be a Trumpster.
Yeah, tell me where you heard where he said Mexicans were murderers. Oh my God. No.
Yep.
He said it. He said it on ESPN.
It's insane. It really is where we're at. I just can't every day. The more crazy it gets, I just can't wrap my head around it, man. It's like just having a genuine conversation with people nowadays. You got to tiptoe around topics, and it's like makes no sense.
The days of Michael Jordan busting out and saying, "Hey, Republicans buy sneakers too." Those days, I think, are over. I think now, the Democratic Party pretty much got the celebrities like there you are. It
was just announced like yesterday or the day before. Master P's buying Reebok and making it a black-owned company.
Well, nothing
wrong with that. But to me, it's like the whole headline. When I read it, I was like, Master P buying buying Reebok. And I was like, that's good. And then you read the next part of the headline. It's like, to make it a black-owned company. Dude, why does it have to be a black-owned company? Why can't you just say he's reviving Reebok?
Honestly, I don't know much about that story, but I think that's the journalist party's skill on it. Yeah. Because guess what? Master P is a businessman. And I don't think a lot of business people will go out there and deliberately try to. It's happening. I guess not, because it's happening a lot now because people forget that conservatives buy sneakers too. Yeah. And buys, and you look at the wall, Super Bowl commercials, and the wall was being built. A lady was trying to race and she was drinking her Gatorade, but then the wall is being built and she can't go nowhere. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. But, I guess I'm old school, yes, I have my own beliefs, but when it comes to the CTS, everybody's welcome, come on. Yeah. And I'm not going to, I'll do my best not to dispute you. I'm not Steven Crowder. I'm not going to argue with you, let you come on and you can say what there's a lot of people. I haven't really, to be honest with you, I have never had anybody on my show I really disagree with anyway. I think the only person I ever really disagreed with was Jermaine, but then Jermaine, I would go down as one of my best guests, and he was my third interview ever. Reason why? Because I was a fan, and got to meet somebody that you actually looked up. Now, I'm a grown man, I don't look up to nobody, but he was somebody that I thought was like, that's who I want. Right. I told my social media consultant, like, we got to get him, and this is the guy I want. Like, well, you need to start with high school coaches or something like that. And I was like, no, I won't. And I thought
start at the top, work my way down.
I thought when I got to Jermaine, I thought I hit my pinnacle, because that's how far I would have guy. And to me, Jermaine Funny Man Johnson was somebody that I've been following for 5 years, and he's funny, one of my favorite comedians. And to be my third interview, it was like, wow. I mean, I made it, and then follow up with Vince Papale and Jim the Rookie Morris.
Yeah.
They made movies about these people, and I got to get
you. I got to get you in touch with. He's a local guy here in Tulsa. His name's Todd Atkins. He runs the Todd Atkins Show. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's I wouldn't say newer. He's been in the game a little bit, but he's in with all the fight guys. So if it's anything MMA and boxing, dude, Todd Atkins has had him on the show probably, or he has him booked.
So, isn't it funny? Because me and you, before, I'm gonna break the third wall. Before we started the show, we was like, we want to talk about anything, whatever we talk about. I'm a big boxing fan. And I'm like, dude, I love boxing.
Yeah,
I'm a big boxing fan. And then we spent 2 hours talking politics.
Yeah, bunch of stuff. But yeah. Seriously, Todd he just had Angel Man Freddy on there. That's a name you don't even hear much anymore. But Angel Man Freddy.
I know who Angel Man Freddy is.
Yeah, and he gets almost every MMA fighter you can think of that's good. Not just the up and coming. He gets the good guys, and he'll do a couple interviews a week lives on Instagram and stuff. Todd Atkins, you got to reach out to him. He's a really good dude. He'll come on your show, or you could have him.
When you said Todd Atkins, I was thinking Scott Atkins, the actor.
There's a lot of different. There's actually a few Todd Atkins. Yeah, there's actually a few Todd Atkins out there.
I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, Scott Atkins? I don't even know his name is Scott, but I know him because he's on a bunch of those straight to DVD action movies.
Yep.
And he's always in a movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
He was in The Expendables too as Jean-Claude Van Damme's second. Like,
there you go.
his second. And Doctor Strange. But that's like the only two big movies he was in. But the rest of them are like straight to DVD action movies.
Yeah.
And
he's like Todd is a huge MMA and boxing. You got to definitely, if you reach out to him, you'll either get him on your show or he'll let you on his. He is awesome, and he can put you in contact with some really good guys.
Are you friends with him?
I am. We became friends through podcasting here locally in Tulsa. So
he's
had me on his show. And I have not returned the favor. He keeps asking me, when am I coming on your 2-party, man? When am I coming on? And so, but then I watch him and he gets so booked and he gets these lives going. So I haven't had a chance to get him back on here. But he's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Dean, I'm so going to name drop. Hey, Dean Taylor, 2-Party Podcast told me to call you.
Do it.
How'd you get this number? He didn't tell you to call me.
Go on Instagram, message him. He'll message you back. He's just a straight down home good guy like me and you, man. But he's trained, he's done jiu-jitsu, like he's trained and stuff. He's actually knows his stuff.
Oh, that's a story I want to share before we go, because I got to tell you this story. Let me first if you look on my page, and I feel bad, I hope you edit this part, because it's I forgot the guy's name. So, man, give me a second. Videos. So we wanted to do a special kind of stuff about Cobra Kai coming on Netflix.
Yeah.
And so we got Sean Kanan, who played Mike Barnes. We had him on the show before.
Yep.
We got him, and we got him again. Okay, and then we got Daryl Vidal. Now, Daryl Vidal is famous he's big in the martial arts, but he's also famous he's the guy who played one of the competitors. He fought Johnny in Karate Kid Part 1 in the finals before he got to Ralph Macchio. And he also, a lot of people didn't know this, and we learned that day that he was also Mr. Miyagi doing the crane at the beach.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of people didn't know that. He didn't get credit for it till like later on.
Right.
But he was actually the guy on the little stool in the beach doing the crane. Well, he's a big martial arts guy. And I was telling Sean, because me and Sean, we will communicate once in a while, are you busy? Can you come on the show? Do it, whatever. And just because of the situation of the CTS now than when it was then, he has a business arrangement, and we're lucky at that point where we don't have to do that business arrangement no more. But we've been in contact, and we probably will have him one more time or two more times or whatever, but the business arrangement might have to change a little bit because we don't have to do that no more.
Right.
Anyway, so we had Daryl, and he's a big martial art. He makes 7th degree black belt, different martial arts. And now I want to relate to this person.
Right.
I know a little bit about a little bit, and I was, but I wanted to make, if you watch the video, I want to make it very clear that I'm nowhere near your level of martial arts, but then the same the stuff that I was spewing out of my mouth, it made it sound like I was like this big time MMA fighter.
Yeah.
And then after I watched the video and I put it on YouTube, I kept thinking to myself, somebody's going to test me.
Right. It's going to come up sideways. It's over.
Yeah. Somebody's going, oh, so I heard you know a little something. Damn. Yeah. I remember telling Sean, and I was like, Sean, I just wanted to relate to the guy because I did a little training, but nothing to be bragged about. Nothing to, say that I can go out there and just beat Brock Lesnar up.
Right.
But it's just, I just trying to relate to the guy. I just kept thinking to myself, I should have just kept my mouth shut about what I thought I knew. And, yeah, I made that mistake. And, you can see in the video, you can see he's kind of like,
yeah.
It's like, yeah, man. Yeah, sure. And I saw a video of him kicking some guy. And I remember doing talking because the way I do my interview, I think we have Skype at the time.
Right.
The way I do it now is like when you're talking, the camera shoots to that person who's talking.
Yep.
Okay. At the time we was doing Skype, but you can see me talking to him, and we was talking about Bruce Lee, and he said Bruce Lee was like 5'4". And I think the conversation was like, what is Bruce Lee as bad as people say he was? And could he beat up Gracie or Tito Ortiz? Is he as invincible as everybody portrays him to be? Yeah, or thanks. And his answer was no, but he kept telling me about statistics about him about being 5'4". I'm thinking to myself, if you're 5'4", you have no chance against me.
Right.
And you can see
you start downplaying him because of his size.
I was sitting there like, I've been in that
I can take Bruce Lee.
I was sitting there and you can see the look on his voice. I just basically bashed his childhood hero. Right. And I just said I could whoop his ass. And you can see on his face like, yeah, okay, man. Yep. But Daryl Vidal was one of those people. I've met so many interesting people on the CTS, just like you will. And when we get off, when you get off camera, we're gonna talk about how we can upgrade your guests, and I want to show you some certain things that I do
for sure.
And just like you and me, we're in the same boat, and hopefully that the Two Party Podcast and the CTS. It's hell. I was gonna say 5 years. Say 5 months from now, we're one of the biggest names in podcasts and YouTube.
It's all about cross-platforming. At the end of the day, it's really you got, since this whole pandemic shut everything down, and everybody and their brother's a podcaster now. You got people that are podcasting freaking how to use a remote. Like, oh, there's a remote. Oh, well, let me do a podcast about it. There's people podcasting nonstop. And there's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, we have this technology. Let's use it. But what I like to do is, what I love about your show, for one, with CTS, you're bringing relevant content. You're bringing relevant guests that have good meat, good body, good stories to tell, and they're good characters. I mean, these are people, when you hear the stories on the videos and stuff, and you listen to their episodes, you're literally hearing the individual and who they are. And that's the whole basis of what I did with Two Party Podcast. When we started, it was, everybody tells you stay in a box. When you do a podcast, you got to pick a platform, pick a topic, and you have to stay in this box. And I said, hell no, I ain't staying in a box. I want my show to be everything.
Yeah, and that's like me. I basically, unfortunately, I break my own rule. I talk about stuff and I get the people that I want to listen to. Mm-hmm. So look at the Marvin Constant Show. I love Alabama football. I live and breathe Alabama football. Guess what? I got one of the biggest names to ever play for University of Alabama to be a partner. Right. He's not, an employee. He's a partner. Yep. I tell him all the time. I tell Raphael, I tell Stingray, I tell Marvin, you're not you know, Stingray is one of those people that come up, he'll Facebook me and ask me for permission. I say, dude, this is your channel.
Right. Yeah. If you got good content, bring it.
No, yeah, like this is your channel. I don't own this. This is not, I mean, yeah, I started this, yes. But the same agreement I have, and I told them, like, keep my text messages, keep my voicemails, keep, you know, just in case we do make it big and I decide to get shady, have that Facebook message right there and say, hey, yeah, we're partners. This is your show. This is your channel. And, you know, do what you want. Only thing you can't do is change the name to CT. This is started because of my mother.
Yeah. And if you want to change it, you go do your own show. You know, I mean, at the end of the day,
no, you can't be like that either. You got to kind of be like, that's what Carolyn is going to stay in the name.
Yeah. You've got to be loyal to that.
Yeah. Carolyn, you know, this didn't start because, you know, I wanted to be on YouTube.
Right.
This started because of my mom, who she, you know, I'm not going to get teary-eyed, but she is the love of my life. I mean, she's my mother, you know.
Yeah.
You said anybody that has a mother, no, and you said you lost your mother?
My mom is still alive. She's crazier than hell.
Okay.
Crazier than hell.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I mean, everybody's going to go through it. I did not understand. And my mom tried to explain this to me, you know, when your son or any of your kids, when, you know, when they want protection, they go to, who do they go to? They go to the mama. When they get hurt, who do they go to? They go to your mama.
Yep.
As a father, I want to protect my kids. I want to love my kids. When they get hurt, I want to be the first one to grab them and say everything's going to be okay. But they don't want that. They want mommy.
Right.
Well, it's funny. When my mom passed away, that was something that was I'm going to say this. When I was younger, I kept telling myself, I hope I'm a little older. Like I hope I can keep my mom for 25 years of my life.
Right.
Or I keep my mom 30 years. And then when I turned 25, you know, it was like, I hope I can keep her till I'm 30. And when I turned 30, I hope I can keep her to 35. And when I'm 30 to 35, I hope I can keep her till I'm 78, till I'm 78. And when I lost her, and it's funny to me, and what I'm trying to get at is, as a little boy, you had that comfort blanket.
Yep.
You know, it's like when you're down and out, who you go to your mama.
Yeah.
You know, when I have problems, who do I go? I don't go to my dad. I go to my mama. When I need somebody to tell me, pat me on the back, who do I go to? I go to mama. I don't go to my wife. My wife ain't gonna pat me on the back. My wife gonna tell me,
my wife's gonna kick me. My wife's gonna kick me in my backside.
Yeah. You know, my dad's from Spanish Harlem, New York, you know, from Puerto Rico, from Spanish Harlem, New York, 2 tours of Vietnam. My dad ain't going.
He's not trying to give you a hug right now.
No, stop being a pussy and get the and go get your beard. You know, I'm just being funny, but you know, that's my dad. But my mom was that person that was, you know, she'll tell me I could do anything. You know, she'll tell you that you can go write a book even though you're fucking illiterate. You know, yeah, you could be a director of a movie, Joey. You can do anything you want to. I love you so much. That was my mom. You know, what did she get on my fucking nerves sometimes? Yes. Did she? But when I needed that comfort blanket, she was there. And when she passed away, that comfort blanket was taken from me. I think that's something that every man has to go through, and they don't really talk about it a lot because either.
Well, we're men. We're supposed to be tough.
Yeah,
you know?
And trust me,
masculine person. You know,
let's make no complaint about it. I'll tell you straight up, I'm a very tough human being. I've been through a lot, and you know, but it was always nice to have that comfort blanket there. And it was always nice to have her there. And when I say I love my mama, I mean that with the bottom of my heart. That I was a mama's boy, and you hear stories about Elvis Presley and his mama, or you hear like, you know, I will forever say that woman was the love of my life. And, you know, for her not to be here no more, it's tough. And to this day, this May will be 2 years. And it's tough for me to even think about it. When she first passed away, it was kind of like one of those situations where I forget she was not here no more.
Right.
And you know, like the first New Year's, I'm getting choked up. I even think about this. And yeah, you're a big man, you sissy motherfucker, and you sitting there getting teary eyed. But I remember every New Year's, my mom would call me, and it's funny because the day of this recording is December 31st, and my mom would call me and she, you know, wish me Happy New Year's. Even if I was asleep, she would call me and wish me Happy New Year's. And last year was the first New Year's I didn't have that phone call. And I remember sitting in my chair because I was watching a movie or something. And I was literally waiting for my mom to call me. It slipped my mind that she's passed away. You know, I don't know why my mind was going. I don't know what kind of crap was going on through my mind. But I literally was like, my mom hasn't called. I literally said this in my head. I was like, my mom hasn't called me yet. What the fuck? And then I put the phone down. And then about 2 seconds later, it hit me just like it's like you lost her all over again.
Right.
It's like, damn.
Yeah. And I don't think you ever, you know, those things I don't think you ever pass by. I mean, at the end of the day, your mother is coming into the world. Your mom's your best friend. Your mom's the first person you see. You know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, like you said, I mean, you expect that. You always expect her to be there. You know, you always expect, well, I'll be older. She's going to be there. So I'm sure, you know, whatever circumstances happened 2 years ago, man, I'm sorry to hear that. And I think a lot of things we talk about on this show is self-improvement, mental health and stuff like that. And I'll tell you, one of the things I can say for sure is, and we talk about this a lot. I actually had a guest on here that was really good. We discussed this is, you know, it's okay not to, you know, it's okay as a man to cry. And it's okay as a man to talk about things like this, because we, as men, we were always we were raised not to, but it's okay to.
Yeah. So afterwards, you gonna give me a hug?
Hey, man. but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, now my mom's still alive. I love my mom to death. Same, exactly what you said. My mom has always been there for me. I can call my mom, as crazy as she is, I can call her right now, and she'll talk to me. She'll support me. You could do anything, the whole nine. You know, she's got partial dementia. She's kind of she's there, but she's not there. And she's kind of, I've tried to get her as much help as I can. And she wants to just live free and just hang out in the world doing whatever she wants. And that's what she's doing right now. Her. Yeah. So I love and respect that she wants to be this crazy gypsy of the world in 2020. She never outgrew the 60s, I guess, is kind of how she is. And I'm okay with it. That's who my mom is. I'm okay with that. My dad on the other side, you know, we didn't have a good relationship. He got killed. He was murdered in 2008 by a Black widow murderer who had murdered her previous husband. Very similar situation. But my dad, you know, he wasn't a good guy. He didn't live a good life. He was a murderer. He'd been through a lot of stuff, dealt drugs his whole life, was you know, for lack of a better term, you know, there's a book that should be written in a movie about my dad. No joke. I mean, he's linked to a lot of the movies that are already out right now.
When you come on the show, I already know our topic.
Yeah, I get a lot of people that are like, hey, yeah, you come on, we talk about it. I mean, I got newspaper clippings that go on for days about my dad. He's you know, you watch the movie Blow, you watch the movie Cocaine Cowboys, you watch a lot of those movies. And that is my dad. Those were his friends. Those were the people that he ran for. But my dad was he was not the nice end of those things. He was the guy that collected for the people that wanted their money. That's what my dad did. He did it fresh out of Vietnam. He left Vietnam and served time because he murdered somebody to get a submarine turned around because he didn't want to go back. That's who my dad was. I mean, he was a guy that would, it's a guy that would look at his kids in the eye, give them a hug, and he'd turn around and break somebody's neck in a heartbeat. That's just who he was.
It's funny. You know, let me ask you this. Did you look up to your dad?
There was times, you know, my mom and dad divorced, you know, and we'll get into this on your show, but I'll give you a little small breakdown. Yeah. So from about the age of 5,
question before you answer that question, did you fear your dad?
We always had a healthy fear of my dad.
Yeah. See, I think that's funny. That's funny because I was terrified of my father. Like my dad scared the fuck out of me. I mean, it's going to his house. I used to, as soon as we hit that sign going to his house, and we took that right because you know you had to stay on the weekends or whatever. My stomach would just be like, oh, I got to throw up.
Right.
But then it's so funny. Now 30 years later, you know, I'm 10 times in my mind less violent than my dad is. I'm not saying my dad was like, you know, this big mean guy. By no means. I'm gonna give the devil's due. When I'm talking trash about my father, and I don't mean to, I can call my dad right now and say, Daddy, I'm in a bind. I need money. And he may not want to. I'm not going to sit there and say it's going to be easy.
Right.
But that man will open up that checkbook and come on, I can't let my boy suffer. You're my son. Fuck you, stupid motherfucker. But here,
my dad was a great, as a family man, when he was doing right, he was a good man. His heart was there for his kids and his family. Right. But he had a light switch, and my wife likens it. I'm kind of the same way. I have a light switch with my emotions, and my dad had the same thing. And that was where my dad was a very loving, caring person for his kids. And I was, out of 11 brothers and sisters, I was named after my dad, not a junior, but I took upon his name. And so what ended up, when my dad would turn that switch off, nothing else mattered.
I take it Dean Taylor is not your real name.
I have 3 different birth certificates, brother. If the story doesn't get deeper than that, we've been on and off witness protection at the time my mom and dad got divorced. We were held hostage and kidnapped by my father, and we were put in a lineup in a police shootout in the midst of that's how they got custody back. My mom got custody back. Is she had to track us down for a period of time, about I believe it was 3 to 4 months. My dad had kidnapped us, and my mom had to track us down on her own and take off work in between jobs. She would come find us. Every time she'd find us, my dad would move us. He'd catch on.
I want to stop it right here. I want to direct your show. I'm going to stop it right here because I'm fucking up to see my episode.
We'll get into this. I'll save the meat of it. But at the end of the day, my dad, though, he was a really good man. And here's the thing. From 5 to 15, after my mom and dad divorced, we did have to get away from him. And it started out with us initially being in witness protection. And then initially my mom said, this isn't the life I want. And so we ended up just moving away, far away. And my dad knew where we were. He had police on payroll. He knew what was up. He knew how to find us if he wanted to. And I'll also put it to like this. My mother and my stepmother is the only 2 wives of his that are alive. Okay. He got to the rest of them. My dad was not a very nice man, but at the end of the day, when I turned 15, my mom gave me a choice to move back to Florida. My grandfather was very sick, and she said, if you want to come back to Florida, I'm going back to Florida, and you can help me take care of your grandfather. So I did move back to Florida. And of course, growing up, I always had the questions like, who is my dad? Has he changed? Does he think about me? What's going on with my dad? So the first thing I did when I got back to Tampa, Florida, is I said, I want to know where my dad is. How do I get a hold of my dad? And my mom knew. She had his number. She knew at the whole time I was growing up, my mom always knew where that man was because she had to know, or she was going to be taken out too. Right. And so when we moved back there, I reached out. My mom said, yeah, I think it's safe enough. He's remarried. He's got another kid. And I think it's safe enough for you to reach out, and it's your decision if you want to. And I did. And I went to stay the night at his house for the first time, stayed a weekend with him, got to know him. And I asked him straight up. I mean, I asked him all the questions I had as a kid. I asked him, what was going on with you, and he straight up, I always loved you guys. But there were things that happened at that point in my life, and there was things going on in my life where you guys could not be the priority. You had to either be the priority, or I had to take you off this planet. And that's why I put you in the positions I did.
It's almost like Michael Corleone in a sense.
My dad was we'll get into it. I'll get some of the clippings and some of the other stuff to bring along, and we'll get into some of the detail.
You hear here first, CTS Interview Room, Sunday interview right here.
There we go.
Got Dean Taylor going to come and talk about his daddy. And I'll talk about my daddy. But the point what I was trying to make was it's funny because, my dad was just he was very verbally, I guess the word now to call it is verbally abusive. And it's funny because I always kind of consider myself, not as tough as my father. Mm-hmm. And I always get my wife would get on to me every time with my son, like, you got to calm down. I'm like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? And the next minute I realize I'm just doing the exact same thing as my father, but that, I guess, is that temper will get the best of you. But you don't try to be an asshole. I think deep down our parents really care about it. Even your dad, I think deep down he cared about you. It's just like what he said. And one thing you take away from this interview, don't take the politics, don't take anything else, but just always remember that your parents love you, even if they don't even like you.
Yeah.
He loved you because at one time, you know, you and the mom, you was inside them. I guess technically you was inside your dad too, but
yeah. I mean, in a nutshell, no pun intended. No pun intended. Hey, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna get off here, Joey. It has been amazing. It's been a great interview. You know, we were kind of slinging mud. Like, you know, let's have a conversation, and we have. And to me, I think this has been a great interview. I think
we started at what, 1 o'clock?
Yeah,
Eastern Standard Time, and it's now 4:26.
Hey man, we're kicking it. My wife's gonna be like, I thought we were gonna go out to eat or something. You know, like whatever. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, I appreciate having you on. And like I tell all our guests, this is one time, you know, this will be your first time on. The audience has now got to know who you are. We've had a good open discussion, and then we'll have you back on in the future, and we'll get into some other things. We'll do some other promotions, you know, from your show to mine.
Well, the first thing, let's go ahead and close this out. You know, do your closing, because at the end we got about 5 more minutes. I need to tell you some things that you need to know about your show, and let's go ahead and get you booked.
Let's do it, man.
All
so right. Again, this is Dean with the Two Party Podcast. I'm on here with Joey, and Joey, I want to just give you a real quick opportunity to go ahead and promote CTS page, anywhere where people can find you. Go ahead and hit that.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and hit that real fast. CTS Interview Room. You can catch me on the CTS Interview Room Sunday interview. New interview every Sunday. Then on that channel, you got the man, the legend, the myth, Stingray, the Mississippi State Superfan, now the SEC Superfan. He does the game of the week, and you got Raphael and myself. We do the top 10, where we do a list of the top 10 subjects, topics, or people, whatever top 10 we're going to do. And then, of course, we got the man, the hardest hitting mofo to ever put on the pads of the University of Alabama, Marvin Constant. He does the Marvin Constant Show, where we have Alabama legends come on and we talk to them. So if you're an Alabama football fan, hell, if you can be an Oklahoma or Florida fan, you come and watch us. Catch us on YouTube, CTS Interview Room, and go to our Facebook page, Carolyn's Treasure Shop, and go ahead and like and follow us and subscribe. All right.
Awesome. Again, I appreciate having you on here, and let's go ahead and finish this out, and then you can get me booked whenever you're ready. We can get it booked. All right.
10-4.
All right. You have a great day.
All right.